What's going on? Cloud danced, looking at which men and women, eyebrows slightly wrinkled. Because all of them were shabby and dirty. Some of them even had not taken a bath for several years. They were covered with layers of mud. However, it soon occurred to me that these might be the human beings captured and imprisoned by the Beast Gate. In addition, there are some Warcraft, also followed by these people. After a while, a large group of young boys and girls and some more advanced Warcraft gathered in the square. My lord, help us. Help us, this place is the devil's lair, please take us out together. Please, help us. Under the excited cry of Xiao Chou to Yunwu, the people who followed immediately understood that the only straw they had was the two people in front of them. Because, that little stink, that tooth is bad, they have all seen it. Not long ago, it was that little stink, one mouthful in a cell, who swallowed his stomach like a steamed bun with an iron lock, and rescued them all. These two people are its masters, which must be more capable. However, at the moment when these people were begging for mercy, a sharp and gloomy voice came. Want to escape? It's just a dream. From the moment you step into the Beast Gate, don't think you can escape safely. When Yao Xian got up from the ground, she had already rejected the previous idea in her heart. The two corpses in front of me can't be the three elders and the headmaster. It must be these two people who want to pretend to be fooling people in the Beast Gate. Before those outside disciples were fooled, she would not. As long as she can delay these two hateful boys until the elder comes back, or other helpers come back, won't her skill take the lead? This idea together, Yao Xian eyes greedy flash, that arrogant base, instantaneous full up. Get up, just cut off the claw, is rapid growth and recovery. However, compared with just now, there was something different at this time. The color in her eyes began to change gradually. The pupils were dilated, gloomy and green. Originally pretty features, some twisted, mouth gradually exposed sharp tusks, thin back, some bulging, arms began to thick. This is the image of the wolf beast. It's very ugly for a pretty girl to look like this. Long Qingxia looked at the process of Yao Xian's animal transformation, tut, and came close to Yunwu. Look, you're kind enough to let her go, but she doesn't appreciate it. It turns out that Yunwu did show mercy to her just now. If you put it in the past, Yunwu will die if you don't do it. When did you feel pity? Even began to his opponent, and a trace of mercy? In fact, benevolent compassion is a fatal weakness for a professional killer. Smell speech, Cloud Dance didn't good spirit of stare him, he talk much. What do you want? Kill us? Cloud Dance raises the Mao of C to that Yao Xian, rare much effort the rhetorical question of this idea, but the bottom of my heart is a didn't really see the strength of Cloud Dance. I saw that when the dragon fell away, he can't get involved in this kind of matter this time. She thought also quietly stepped back a shout stinky and humbling bare though she has intentions, so it is definitely inferior to her. But in Shioyo's Cloud Dance, she's just going to be monsters and she hasn't transformed into real strength. They are too small to threaten her. She's completely transformed into nature is in the cloud around the two sides. Now, two little guys to throw away. One move is enough. At the same time, Canthus was full of inflated self-confidence and seemed that whoever dares to get close to them would kill them. For the first time, for a while, since you come to me, I will let you never come back. I want you to have no protection center of the whole battle. Under the arrogant cheers, comfortable Xian's body suddenly finally raised a smile of complacency. Yunwu was already in the mood at the time of cocoon crack, but she couldn't open her eyes and break the shackles of her body. Brush, big change of moment. She can clearly feel everything ferocious. Even the corner of the mouth coldly outlines a dastardly fury. The body shaped by a group of endless dark people in black quietly brushed dash. The sharp claws cut across and its body seemed to be crazy snow willow in a field of Xian looked at the whole body could not move which was split by her claws without making any sound. A touch of surprise passed in those beautiful eyes, the outside world raised a power of people who fight for her and protect her despite how powerful it was. It's washing and dyeing this attack. I'm not so scared that I can't even ask for whose blood it was, but this may have been impossible to tell when the fire of darkness suddenly jumped up and closed. Even the Shangguan, the smile was suddenly struggling on his face, and the pride in his eyes was self to help. However, by the also does not the beginning, waiting for the dragon to show reality. No blood. A concise on the other side, dress, the figure in front of me began to still entangled with the assassin. But how can she cover eyes and he sees the flame in Shirio's hands and shouts "Today's queen, how is that possible?" It turns out that I was hiding in the middle of the city was a step too late. Still the strength of the wind when the dragon had covered up, which made the stains of only a shadow in front of her. His eyes flashed and she didn't notice that the strange and strong breath impossible in his absolutely impossible. The flame in his hand turned into a strange whip, and it went at that moment of the figure jumped and doomed the end of her life. A mouthful of blood gushed out, and the dragon's cleaves down and solves the big assassin again. Yao Exai faced the snow willow with great because of the snow willow looks at the dragon wide open and flies straight out. With that still resist the South Palace body also at that officer appeared in her right purple light in Shuoyo's phoenix eyes flashed by. She thought of staining the harm herself today. Just because she wanted to do it again. Eyes just coldly glanced at Yao Exai. A person who had awakened the power of witchcraft once or twice was her first time. Yunwu saw the black now that she can solve her problem by herself. And his figure flashed away. It's not in this second she left the Imperial Darkness for an excuse, so she left her life. She used the fire of darkness. She was proud in the witch clan. The fire of darkness is included in the existence of forbidden fire. It's broken by the character as it is touched by the fire of darkness. Therefore, it's not swallowed at that moment. And there is no vitality to the dazzling red accompanied by a wizard black. The fire of darkness is not brush until it has to be used. And the little snow sitting on the top bounced away Shuoyo's body in the moment of the fire of darkness. The red light is like the high temperature, as if it can instantly evaporate a person's terror. It wanted to kill her for a long time. Snow willow in stable body shadow, looking at the red purple black light under the big was gradually replaced by fright. Consternation. He wanted to turn his head and look at Yunwu, but the plasma on his neck suddenly more black and blue. How? I want to say something, but all the voices are stuck in the throat. It's not like the feeling of being devoured by her dark fire. I'm afraid they are still unwilling to think. It's a breath of vitality that can regenerate everything, like warm flowers in the twinkling of an eye. The black flame around the periphery of the light seemed to evaporate what the weapon is and it seemed to be swallowed by the red and purple light. Her eyes were still wide open. Disappeared without a trace. I don't want to die. Good. The snow willow pupil mouth suddenly shrinks. The heart is very powerful. No way. This kind of devil kills well. It can't be like this. At this time, but a burst of cheers suddenly sounded. There was an extremely hot explosion. At this time, the light was shining, and women in the square were like eating chicken like a rock breaking as if they saw and just under the dazzling light. Their eyes were burning and excited, looking at the clouds. Like a shadow. Cloud Dance looks at the men and women on the field, snow willow looks at their adoration but straight after the road was snow willow that dark fire to fly to the dragon pour evil away. Can't help but frown in a few seconds, ready to let dragon the dazzling light finally faded. But just and also at that moment, all the people whose face changed and a mouthful of blood gushed out. Zheng Zheng looked at the woman almost at the same second. Long Qingxia's face changed dramatically, elegant and his roar raised, beautiful purple pupil, straight nose, little stink, small cherry mouth and white skin. What kind of beauty is that? It was in that second that he bared his teeth and roared. I can't describe it, or I can't describe it with words at all. Don't know when. A thick and bloody tongue provocative and can make people feel incomparably perfect. Abdomen position through and pass. That snow willow is also a beauty, but at this time, no, compared with that woman, that Yunwu didn't notice the reaction was completely stupid at this time. Didn't feel any crisis before. He was staring at me without looking in the direction of the scarlet tongue. Who told him? It turned out that the tongue came from one of the crowd not far away. Yaokaji. How did it burst out of that cocoon? It's totally different from the scholar-like image we saw before. I'm still such an eye-catching Yunwu doesn't know the change of her appearance with a gloomy and violent atmosphere. On the contrary, the man who was attacked by the fire of darkness made her anxious. They are after landing, Yunwu quickly reached out to his wrist, and was relieved to make sure that he only had a scarlet tongue extending from his mouth. How could he be the fire of the snow willow is of little use to the man. How could he not even find his attack? I don't know whether this man is a monster or a big one. What the hell is going on? However, at the moment when Dragon seemed to be happy to hold her, the ape came out and fell down to the tongue. He pretended to be quite like her. At the moment when Yunwu fell to her knees, just let it go. She hugged her tightly. Looking at the man on the body, her eyes were red with blood and her heart was burning. However, when her voice came out, it was as beautiful as a spring. How are you? This can make Cloud dance oneself all one length. Xiaoqiu, at the moment when he roared out, the sound his eyes turned into scarlet and weird for the first time, but his eyebrows are wrinkled. He bared his teeth. This waved his claws originally rushed to recruit some rotten peach blossom. Yunwu's face turned white because of the pain. There will be time for him to cut rotten peach blossom in the future at this time of Cloud saliva of the tongue naturally don't know what men makes her feel that the body is penetrated with pain. After confirming that he is okay, also the sharp pain of toxic corrosion. Snow willow from the beginning, can't this light dare to have the slightest hesitation. When you see her face, almost want to eat her blood and drink her flesh. One hand pressed her abdomen, felt it. The other hand quickly pulled out the tongue that still ran through her abdomen. She knew what the moment of drawing out, A burst of black blood came out. She can't. It seems that I underestimated you almost in front of a black feint in the past. However, if the palace went out in person, there is no reason for you to leave alive. The extracted blood also splashed the blood on Long Qingxia's face. And a turn, if carved at the same time, but similar to the weapon of the big knife, pale and suddenly that his heart had stopped. For the first time, he was extremely afraid. When she saw the weapon in her hand, Yunwu could not help but eyebrow more attention. Maybe he would not. However, the dragon didn't stop. However, I don't know why. After pulling out his tongue, the first sight of the sword, the blade of his épée inexplicably from the bottom of his heart, with his own blood, and there is a feeling of rest in her black blood hole of the abdomen. Little thing, don't underestimate that weapon. Okay. If you're not wrong, it should belong to the ancient weapon. It's okay. Be careful. It's Dragon Qing Evil whispered with Cloud Dragon Qing Evil tightly hugs the Cloud weapon of Dance, flustered like constantly chanting. Help but look at the sword in Xiaoyou's hand. From his red eyes, we can see that he is back of the sword, anxious, there are some ancient carved totems. It's just, how did Totem make her feel really so passionate, especially when the man's hand pressed her abdomen to her well, a strange drill pain, otherwise I'll take it, almost made her faint. In any case, now she has a direct confrontation with her, Yunwu vomited out 5 words. Hold open. Now that the war is over, she felt that once the blood on his hand touched the hole in her abdomen, for a long time, it was like being bitten by innumerable mice, or by innumerable snakes. Suddenly there is a kind of humiliated anger. She was almost as miserable as she could bear. Tightly, Wu even twisted his facial features. Long Qingxia quickly released the hand that wanted to heal her with blood and asked, "What's the matter?" Under the roar, the black flame leaped up and wrapped the dagger. At this time, the dragon was a little flustered and had already attacked the clouds at top speed, biting her gums until she could hold back the Cloud Dance purple eye flits past. She couldn't help but put her hand over her abdomen, but at the moment when her hand touched her abdomen, Long Qingxia never likes to hide behind women, especially those she likes. Now, she is not happy to feel what it is. He was willing to listen. However, the one that can move in her abdomen is probably the mysterious branch that has been rooted in already a sensitive jump, goes straight toward the direction of South Palace. What happened to her? At the moment of Dragon's departure, Yunwu's hands turned up, at this time, and the elements of fire and water feel that if she doesn't think of a way, maybe this situation will kill her. Under the startled eyes of Snow Willow, his hands clasped instantaneously. Cloud Dance Chi with the integration of elements, it can condense into elemental animal body, helped her to sit aggressive, little thing, but its strength is greatly reduced by half. What else do you want me to do? However, the fusion of different elements has never happened before, has a healing effect that ordinary people can't understand. Two different elements will only repel each other with her wound and did not heal. How can they be fused? It seems that it is not much use. But the Cloud Dance in front of me as soon as the Snow Willow fell. The black flame sword in his hand can't heal her. So, I want to have a rest. Cloud Dance hands still keep this don't let anyone hit or disturb me. However, in the moment of Snow Willow attack, looking at Dragon to poor evil figures such as Spring, jump in the air to avoid. Long Qingxia's originally looking at the evasion of Cloud Dance, gradually calm down. Xiaoyou's eye killing is more arrogant. Faxon. Regardless of the girl in front of her, her strength after the second awakening no one should disturb her, but she will definitely not be her opponent. All the obstacles that could disturb her. They would not dodge all like of you this. After holding Cloud Dance's original sight and sitting up, Snow Willow Heartbottom tall figure slowly this stood next up. Killer is more swift and fearless. At the moment when he stood up, the temperature in the air seemed to be frozen by some powerful killing intention, which brings up bursts of shade. That pair of deep black eyes has completely transformed into a golden. Every time when she was about to dance with a machete, she always flashed by like the wind under that moment when I saw Yao Kaji being a Snow Willow. All the men and women who had gathered around were scared and then retreated to the distance. Xiaoyu looking at the big fight and the small fight. It seems that you don't want to fight me head on. Round eyes. Okay, at this time is that strange Scarlet, extremely vicious. In that Snow Willow, that sharp tusk, that originally dodged Cloud Dance at Yaokaji finally stopped. At this time, his mouth is covered with flesh and blood. The next second, in the hand of the sword, was very angry when he saw his daughter killed. Suddenly toward the Cloud Dance. Under the attack of Little Stink, the Cloud Dance's also tugged at the little monster pestering him, and the corner of the mouth also outlines a strange smile. Wants to throw it away. The red and blue swords condensed in that moment. But a knife and a sword contradicted each other at that moment. Not to mention its teeth and the roaring sound of the sword, its fat, like the river and is invulnerable, pierced the sky. His paw grasps on it, as if grasps on the steel. Strength confrontation but does not harm it. Abruptly separated. On the contrary, in the second of separation, embarrassed by an obscure power wave suddenly spread from the two people's central area. I'll bite you to death. Long Qingxia, Smelly was very angry, and others quickly aroused the fighting spirit to cover the whole body, were still which resisted the spread of the power. If it was not for its small size and weak claws, it would have broken the man to pieces long ago. As soon as Yunwu came out of the cocoon. Yao Keji is an adult after all, so there is no fluctuation in that force. He has just been successfully transformed into a beast. Where did it come from? He is full of anger and has no place to vent his anger. Clouds with an ugly face. In can't hurt small stink all the time. At the tiger's mouth of her palm was painful, all because of the reason that she combined with the power of Cloud Dance. But just then, a cold air came. Little Stink was caught by a big hand at the moment. Others may not know, to the ground, but Shuoyo is very clear in her heart. He threw it to the other side. Just now, all the way she almost exerted all her strength in the middle period of Wusheng. If you don't have a cold voice, you'll have a little emotion. On the contrary, it was hurt by her tall figure. I don't know when. The strength of the girl in front of her can match her. When Yao Keji saw the dragon that makes her scared, his pupils suddenly shrank. This is the second awakening of the power of witchcraft, the fundus in the eye fears set off. If there's another one, you kill my daughter. The thought of that I want you to pay for their lives. Shuoyo's ugly face suddenly turned his long tongue was and cut a strong murderous air emerged. At this time, when Yao Keji spoke, feel her body there was a trace of strangeness. Purple pupils slightly squint. Is it? It seems that the Snow Willow's intention to kill her is more serious. The whole gas field is extremely cold. She can't be completely unaware of physical changes. At the end of the speech, she seems to have just been transformed from the mist, and the air of killing was lifted in the air. However, anyone who dares to touch his woman was forced into the body to expand. Long Qingxia's golden eyes are tinged with a trace of bloodthirsty precipitated after a short time. They are extremely cold. Therefore, if we want to fight, we must take advantage of this opportunity to solve the problem quickly. The ape attacked Yao Keji with extreme speed. Cloud Dance coldly raises the corner of the mouth. Keji's strange does not answer the rhetorical question to her question on his face. Well, it's in the next second. I can't keep you. The ape falls. Snow Willow momentum also from just repressed disappeared suddenly into the full burst. How is that possible? Who with Long the roar of the sword, golden pupil narrowed his eyes to the clouds and brushed a touch of surprise at the bottom of his eyes. Yunwu stands on tiptoe and retreats, but the sword in his hand, in front of Long which is made of water and fire elements, under his is also flying across with a strange breath. Is almost as like as two peas before Yao Exayan. Like the water, only difference like fire, is that Cloud Dance cold, is very fast, like hot power giving people the illusion of disappearing in situ and leaving a residual shadow. But at the same time, Yao Keji really disappeared. Snow Willow's speed is extremely fast. For the first time, Long Qingxia was on guard. Face to face the Cloud Dance stepped back to the side of Yunwu's body and swept around. Mao am I? Body no already instinct of a dodge. What's going on? I saw, in the position where she dodged, Keji's ability, the moment she was impossible for him to have such strength that he can't even find out. Split into a huge gap. In the Long Qing evil cold kill fond of running, looking for that Yao Keji have nowhere to run. The Cloud Dance sitting on the ground with a black closed finally like early preparation. Brush fast to the cloud in front of black eyes in the moment of opening eyes. The cloud dances to see this. The pupil in a moment into purple. He's in front of you on the left. It's too late. His ability on Shuoyo's cruel face. She finally raised a smile again. Surround. Don't use your eyes to see. Use your spiritual power under the soft voice. The black flame suddenly rose and opened like a curtain of fire. Under the purple pupil, like a self-consciousness hiding and wrapped up the whole person in an instant. Chameleon, the next second, will change its color according to the surrounding environment to hide itself. The strong and surging explosion sounds like thunder in the sky. Who is hiding and the powerful explosion changes his face when he hears you spread and open. How could he know his surrounded by the black flame, and then exploded? It seems that the boy is his biggest enemy. There might be no residue left. Yao Keji's eyes are full of killing intention. It's too young to fight with this palace. Before Long Qingxia starts, his figure comes first. Shuoyo coldly looked at the location of the explosion and sneered. Bang! The three men in black on the ground, firmly grasped the terrible power setting off a spark, cast a more respectful look at Shuoyo. Also appeared in front of people at this moment. But in the next second, Yao Keji takes back his hand in pain and stares at those people in black suddenly stare big eyes. He killed my daughter. After the black smoke of the black flame explosion subsided, get out of the way, see a burnt corpse or burnt ash. Long Qingxia was not ready to waste saliva with him. As soon as his figure appeared, the ape in his hand had been cut down. The forbidden fire in the witch clan, however, fled in when the smoke disappeared, the position, at that moment, his figure but still intact standing there. However, compared with not just even a shirt is missing. At this time, Dragon difference is that she is wrapped in a red light. Instead, on the other side of her body was a round and cute little fellow with scarlet eyes. Take the sense as the eye, the spirit as protecting her with his red wings. Found out. As the phoenix power, dragon is red full of blood, extremely dazzling. With sword as the main part and fighting spirit as the main part, phoenix a strong breath is like a net in heaven and earth, attacking a certain position also surprised the people in black, full of horror and unwilling will be fixed on the twisted expression of fear. The little monster, Cloud Dance in just purple pupil eye flash out, is actually dragon poor evil remind, I in saw front that of the next situation, consciousness but also let the audience some surprise. What to be sucked in. Because, when she woke up, to the amazing she found that she was already in the space full of white fog. There is also a big red flower, just like the soaring vine, in the open space surrounded the whole square at some time. However, it is as small as silk root, there was a man with the ground of the whole and a dignified face, there is a kind of ground network formation posture. It's like she owes him $8 million. How are you doing, Big Beard? These people bully you. Isn't that Big Beard turned into a big stone statue? Hung Ling was originally a young voice. She got up from the ground and looked at the real man's big beard. It became a young voice. What's going on? Bloodthirsty. She remembers that she seemed to be pierced around her abdomen doesn't change much. And then, you are the master of Chaos that its red fur wings turn into a huge flame. Now the gate of Chaos Hall is eyes are scarlet and fierce, and its tusks twinkle. Mustache's original lovely voice was tinged with extremely vicious terror. Smell speech. Mama, Cloud Dance frown. Feel some depressed in the heart. I'll let all the bad guys die. Why didn't she care? Angry voice. How many times did she come in and knock? Cloud Dance just about in front of us. This is a cute little guy. It's just that the closed door doesn't mean that it's connection between at the bottom of her heart and them made her feel the anger. She didn't know what happened. How did the gate of Chaos Hall close? Good. No one told her what had happened. And fight the bad guys together. She was confused. Cloud Dance haha smile away. What's going on? Shuelyo looked at them and her sense of crisis soared. Now, the moment of the black flame rising, buckle, in a moment, Big Beard's strange black python, that pair of yen sharp mouth from the flame condensation vacated. The facial expression is difficult. As soon as the python came out, for a while, the gloomy atmosphere in the air was turbulent, showing a strong force. She knew. Still need to ask him. Isn't this mustache talking nonsense? Snow Willow's eyes stare at the clouds. I have been in touch with this Big Beard several times, I saw that the python is also a moment, as if by the independent consciousness, also nodded, suddenly a pair of fierce stare like to the cloud. Also please give me some advice. At the next moment, the boa constrictor rose stared at her for a long time before he said coldly, the cloud dances, of Chaos Hall and the purple eyes are cold. Generally you have violated the bottom line of Chaos Hall, otherwise, it's better not to do it twice. While the power is still there, we should join hands with these two little guys to wipe out the biggest enemy on the forehead out of countless question marks. Cloud Dance didn't condense elements into beasts, seemed to have guessed that her face was confused and raised a roaring sword. On her face full of stubble, in a flash of cold light, the sword takes off for a moment. You have released the black pride and prison in the chaotic palace without authorization many times. It dropped a sentence. Don't you know what's wrong? Stink, Hungling, black pride. What are you doing? Cloud Let go of your stomach and eat appetizers. Immediately, as soon as the two little guys heard it, they were excited and their molars roared. Big Beard stared at Yimu for a long time, but young mouth sneer. I'm just a guard general. A bunch of clowns. What can I do to it? Surprised Cloud Dance can compete with her strength, not warning and she is a summoner. If you don't reopen the door of Chaos Hall within the specified time, you will be disqualified as the owner of Chaos Hall. This is just the second time to awaken the power of sorcery. Bearded did not seem to be ready to say anything to kill her. He turned back to the gate and turned attention to the weak and ugly things around her. Cloud Dance looked at him, however, for a moment, self-confidence, some sign but very stiff in the face. It never occurred to her that the situation was so just serious. Jumped on it, was directly split by a sword like edge. Chaos Hall cancelled. Hiss. Is it because she let out the constrictor's painful roar pierces the air? However, she was the master of Chaos Hall. The solidified body disappears and had the power to control it. So she's still the master of some bullshit. I was taken off by the little stink. Looking at the closed door, for the first time, his mouth, Yunwu felt the black flame poured into his small mouth like a huge stream. Suddenly, a sharp pull-like pain straight down suddenly hit her consciousness. After swallowing, the little Cloud Dance hasn't had time to respond to what's going on. On the contrary, the wings of the flame behind him seemed to be a little more silvery black, but the temperature was higher, just like a tonic. The pain was like being stabbed by thousands of needles on every meridian of her body at the same time. Small Stink licked his lips. The pain was so severe that Yunwu couldn't bear to be handsome. And Hung Ling, without saying anything, fell to the ground and rushed to the man in black who had the top strength of the remaining three assassins. I saw that the whole white fog space in front of me seemed to change in an instant. Can really make up for it. The white fog that had been all around seemed to be suddenly contaminated by fuel. How little by little, it began to turn green. Shuelyo looked at his dark fire. Even the ground above was gradually replaced by little green. It seemed that the whole person was not very good. Was suffering, the ground-like green pigment began to sprout countless green buds. This little monster was so weak that it could be killed with a clap. Around the white fog, began to float
How
above,
come in a flash,
that originally
however,
floating
the summoner
in
and the
mid-air with
contract
original
beast
fire,
are connected,
just like the sun hanging
once
high
the
in the
master's
sky,
strength is
began
promoted,
to shine
or
and
the
heat up.
contract beast evolves,
Over the
other
green
side
sky,
can be
it
promoted.
was gradually reflected bright.
This is one of the reasons why the
Everything
summoner
seems
is
to be
against
changing
heaven.
rapidly at this moment.
The expansion of Yunwu's
When
power
everything
is
in this
naturally
space stops
associated with her
changing,
contract
the scene in
beast.
front of us, like a scene,
No way,
is pushed away from
in
the
your
clouds
eyes,
to see the blue
I'm
sky.
afraid nothing in the world makes
The
you
sun
feel
is
impossible,
bright, the
right?
sky is white, the grass
Queen
is
Cloud
green,
Dance
the grass
sneered.
is oily, and the
Xiaoyo
tower is
opened
simple
her
and
eyes in
solemn.
amazement and stared at her.
Beautiful.
Do you know I'm the queen?
Very beautiful.
Who the hell are you?
It's a wonderful sight.
Since she became the queen,
However,
she
the
seldom
cloud
went out of the
dance was
palace,
almost fainted
and
by
few
the
people
pain
knew
in
her.
front of it.
What's
Outside,
more, she never met the girl in front of her.
But also in this strange
Otherwise,
scene,
she will not let her
cloud
grow
dance
up to the
that was
present
through the blood
situation.
hole of the abdomen,
Who
at
am
this
I?
time is being out of countless green willows, a little
I'm
bit of
afraid the
wrapping
queen
up.
is not qualified
After
to know
solving
this,
Yao
but I'd
Kuxi's
like to
long
give you a
Qingxie,
ride.
he anxiously looks
The
at the
cloud
suddenly
dances
changing
coldly
cloud
and
dance.
laughs, but the body
I
suddenly
wanted
breaks.
to use the power of darkness
The
in his
snow
body
willow
to
is
suppress
fierce
the
and
excessive
fierce.
power of life in her body,
Schwa.
just like last time.
Hu Xiuyo's eyes
But this
widened
time,
again.
as soon as he got
Surprised
close,
he
Cloud
was
danced
thrown
in the
away
body
by an
shape of a
inexplicable
flash out of
force.
time, so barehanded
Little
in the air to
what's going
intercept the
on?
sharp knife. The worry in the golden
Blood.
pupil couldn't be concealed,
Into the big
but he
knife.
remembered that she said, the
Don't let
ancient
anyone
totem on the
disturb her.
dagger, shining like a
Therefore,
flash of strange
Long
purple
Qingxie
light,
first sent out
instantly
those men
shrouded
and
the
women
whole
with a
sky,
ray.
including those
Time has
warcraft
stopped.
scattered in the square.
Everything in the
All
world
of a
seems
sudden,
to be fixed
on the
at this
Jinkong
moment.
Square, only the cloud
Only
dance
Cloud
sitting on the
Dance can
ground,
clearly
the
feel all
dragon
the
poured
changes
evil,
under the purple
and the
light.
little stink who refused to go
Cloud
out.
Dance quietly looked at
What
the
happened
sword
to
in his
Mama?
hand and felt the roaring sound
Small
of the
Stink
sword.
squatted in front of Cloud
It's like
Dance.
calling her.
Round big eyes have recovered.
Originally,
At
the
this
palm
time
of
is
the
very
hand
worried
cut by the
staring
big
at
knife
Cloud
healed
Dance.
gradually under the purple light.
Dragon Qing evil guard
It seems
posture,
that it is healing
standing
for her.
on
In
one
fact,
side,
she
not
was
a bit
gambling.
lax.
When she
If
saw
you want
the
to
big
stay
knife
here,
at the first
shut up.
sight, she felt
The
inexplicable
voice was
love
cold,
for it, so she was ready
At
to
this
do
time, his face,
It
no
seems that
longer
she
half
really
of the
guessed
silk of the
right.
joke. It seems
This big
all
knife
over the
belongs
body
to
is
her.
that cold gas. Small Stink smell speech, small mouth of flat, big
Ding.
eyes watery flashing. All of a sudden,
However,
in the sea of
it also
consciousness,
seems to feel
there's
the
a
pain
sound
of
like
Cloud
a bell.
Dance at this time.
At
Waving
first,
a little
some
fat
of
claw,
Cloud Dance
want to
didn't
rub her
react.
face.
But
It
it was
was
not
not
until the
sword
sword
flew
flew
out
out
of
of Shuoyo's hand and fell
Nothing
into
to
her
say,
hand that Yunwu
just like
reacted
that,
to a
quietly
sudden vibration
sitting,
in the sea of
quietly
consciousness.
watching the clouds.
It's on.
How long have you been
Did the
suffering
door
from
of
that
Chaos
pain?
Hall open? Yunwu didn't
What's
know.
going on?
She just
Hoo
felt
hoo.
as if she had fallen into
At
a
this
dark
time,
whirlpool.
the sword in Yunwu's
In
hand
that
seemed to be
whirlpool,
summoned.
she
just
saw
like
a lot
the
of
huge
things,
waves,
or a lot
making
of
memories
bursts
of
of
sword
previous
roaring.
lives.
Under the purple
Abduction,
light,
special
extremely
training,
spectacular.
mutual fighting, disfigurement,
It's also
betrayal,
very weird.
heartbreak every scene,
Outside the
just
Hall
like
of
a
Chaos,
movie,
the
played
beard,
back in her
which
mind.
was originally a stone statue,
However,
also
this time
seemed
the
to be
mood
affected
at
at
this
this
moment,
moment, unusually
and
calm.
suddenly recovered to human form.
It's like the anger,
resentment,
resentment,
and pain she had hidden in her
When
heart
he heard
before.
the roar of the sword in response,
All and do not
his
know
eyes
when,
flashed
have
with
disappeared
amazement.
in general. I didn't expect
this
that
time,
girl could
her
find
heart
Longton
is very
Dao,
calm,
and it's recognized.
But calmed down in,
When
actually
Big Beard
flashed
said,
a figure in the
he
brain,
couldn't help looking up at the
indistinctly,
scene in front
as
of
if
him.
also heard his voice.
The plants are green,
Dragon's
the sun
evil.
is shining, the clouds
I don't
are
know
slowly
why,
this space
the bottom
is
of
no
my
longer
heart,
what it used
suddenly
to be.
a trace of palpitation,
It's full of
a
fog.
difficult to use words to
At this
describe
time,
the feeling
it is
surged
to
into
give
my
people
heart.
a kind of comfortable beauty.
Because of that throb,
It's
that
more
feeling,
and more like the prosperity
it
of a
makes her
thousand
feel
years
that
ago.
the darkness around her is not
I don't
so
know
cold,
why,
so
a kind
dark,
of nostalgia,
so quiet,
a kind
little
of
thing.
melancholy, even
Here,
vicissitude.
the man
suddenly
that listened
surged up in
anxious
Bearded's
calls
heart.
sound.
A more and
Is
more
that
clear
girl
than
really
a sound.
destined to come?
Mama.
Originally, the
It's a
closed
cry.
door of Chaos Hall has
Master.
been reopened.
Hongling's
Cloud
rough
Dance
voice
seems to be able to feel that something
Originally,
has changed in the
Yunwu
Hall
was
of
still
Chaos.
enjoying the peace in the dark.
However,
but at this moment,
is not the
he
time
found
to
something
check.
wrong. Because
Why is
that
she here?
originally shrouded in the purple
She's
light
not
of
at
this
the moment
space,
when Yunwu
has
wakes up
gradually
and
faded.
finds something wrong.
Originally static
Everything
time
seems to
has
break
begun
through the
to run.
darkness.
Snow Willow and wake up
And
that
this
moment,
also let her
stare
see clearly.
big eyes is
What's
that
the matter
startled
in
color.
the end?
You.
Damn it. When did
Her
she
soul
take the big
out of
knife
the
in her
body.
hand?
I saw that on the
Obviously,
ground,
in
the smell
Shuoyo's
of cloud
eyes,
dance
the
had
time
broken,
just at rest
and the
didn't
green willow
exist at
wrapped
all.
around her body seemed to
He
wither
thought
in
that
an
it was in the
instant,
blink
of an eye that the
Long
sword in his
Jingxia's
hand
eyes
was taken
were
away
red
by
and
Yunwu,
congested,
and he was
shocked.
holding her tightly, shouting
Seeing
at
the
her
startled
like a lord.
expression of Snow Willow
Little
in front of
Stinky,
him, with
Yunwu
Hong Ling,
felt
who
a kind
didn't
of
know
unspeakable
unspeakable
joy,
joy.
was lying beside
When
her,
she chased
crying,
her again
floating
and
in
again,
the air of the
did
clouds.
she ever think that
Some
she had
can't
today?
believe looking at the scene below.
Cloud danced
She wants
couldn't
to
help
go back,
laughing for a
but
moment,
the soul
and
seems to be
sneered,
given something.
"What's wrong with me?
I can't move.
Queen, you, who are
Did
you?
she really die like this?
Finally,
Shuoyo
how
could
is
not
that
help
possible?
roaring. The
The more
last time
she could
was
not
dead,
guess her identity,
body was
the more
broken,
frightened
and
she
she
was.
didn't live as if nothing had happened.
Seeing this,
Yunwu laughed
this
again.
time, just such a little
Snow
injury
Willow and
really
her
killed
laughter.
her.
The heart is more hair
No
up.
way, what are
She
you laughing
won't.
at?
Unexpectedly,
Who
your
are you?
soul is a woman. This is the fourth time I've asked the same question. But some lonely gentle voice came. The cloud danced with laughter. The sudden sound makes the cloud flashed in those purple eyes. He turned his head and looked at the glacier, and the face was like ice. When you see the figure from the void, in this world, dances anyone can ask me who I am, but you can't, because you don't deserve. White face, a pair of sharp two-color pupil, a gorgeous emerald robe. Said at the same time, to the previous sudden disappearance of the noble, gently turned up, a black flame. It suddenly jumped out of her palm. How did he, by the way? Long Qingxia said that he was, you've been watching. Shuoyu's face turned white instantly. Looking at the sublime that came out, when she wanted to take back the ancient sword from Yunwu. Gao Xing's white face raised slightly, but his eyes were strange and sharp. But backhand a yang. This place was my jurisdiction, but I decided to destroy it. Seeing this, Shuoyu had to dodge. I want to see it with my own eyes. Can't this eyes to crack? I don't know if it's because Cloud dances the soul in the chest like, very angry. When Gao Xing talks about this, at this time, he doesn't hide anything. She did not even dare to touch the black flame. Yunwu was a little surprised. Now that I have this knife in my hand, he created, I have no reason to return it. Long Qingxia secretly told him that this noble may be the former leader, of the black flame, and his identity is not simple. Just now, but do you still believe it? He was the one who created the beast these words. Can let Snow Willow that the facial expression has been established like thousands of years. General. If he created the beast gate, how old is the man? As like a jade-faced young man, it seems that he guessed what Yunwu thought. Too much said with a lofty smile. I have lived for thousands of years, at the bottom but I died for some reasons more than 10 years ago, when she was in the palace. Otherwise, she found fault with her and almost killed her. Dead? Why didn't she say that she was too deceiving? But immediately, frowned. People are good at being bullied. Before that, how could you let me talk to the dragon? Can he see you? Yunwu thinks that he is not a good man, does not seem to want to realizes that he is a cold-blooded man. After Yunwu asked, nothing happened. She just cheated too much. Until his strange eyes swept around her, he said with interest, to her the black flame does not make people feel that the temperature is rising again. Where do you come from? On the contrary, it has a dark and gloomy feeling. The cloud dances to smell speech, but in the hands of Cloud dance, like a docile lamb, raised a silk flashing and jumping in her palm. This alien person and thing are not the flame of the dark fire stored by the witch clan is sealed in this ancient martial arts sword. Don't be nervous. As long as anyone gets this ancient sword, I'm just curious. He can control the dark fire at the same time. However, it's no wonder why Willow could do whatever she wanted your body to control you. But at this time, she didn't dare to touch the black flame. It turns out that he controlled her body before. So I will give you a ride in the way you are most familiar with. You girl, the more I say, the more nervous you get. When he said this, he brushed the piercing cold at the bottom of his eyes. I've done it early. And the black flame in his hands closed in an instant. I'll chat with you while I still have some time. Black dragon, proud of the sky. You know, since I hung up more than 10 years ago, the sound of the dragon person to chat with for a long time. That strong breath is not weaker than the previous python. With that, Snow Willow's voice was really a little gloomy. Startled voice rang out. However, you can frowned and didn't believe it. Skill. If you can appear in front of me and dragon, can't you find someone to chat with? Cloud didn't answer. The black dragon on the top of his head when I was fiercely opened his tusks and rushed to the past. Moreover, Shuoyo's pupils shrank rapidly, and her heart suddenly trembled. It's that I'm in the mood to chat with others. Ka. Suddenly, in the air, suddenly shot a strange cold light. Chongan said every sentence in reason. At the moment when the dragon began to sing, there is not he saw that the black dragon was abruptly scattered under the cold looked light. At the ground. Then, his eyes were bloody and ferocious. He was close to the crazy dragon, like being pulled by something and that man has a heart for you, but it's a pity that you and him are. Yunwu's face suddenly sank and raised her eyes. Chongan's words came to a standstill when I saw the lofty figure in the air. I brushed a touch of anger in my purple eyes. Yunwu frowned at him. What do you mean? Chongan Siwen said with a smile. Lofty face slightly smiled. Chao Yun Dance also quite polite nodded. Just said, later, girl, you will naturally know that. Favor. Well, this woman's after chatting with you I'll for take so it to pay off the debt. I should go. In the future, if you have something to ask, in return, I will certainly pay you a favor. After that lofty saying, Chongan stretched out his hand and pointed to the lower part of it. He took the snow willow and necklace around your neck is a sacred thing of the witch clan. There was no trace. Only with the purest efforts of the witch clan can the seal be untied again. Hung Ling, the purest efforts of the witch people in black, she's a half-blood witch at most now. It has had for a long time. Is that why she can't untie the seal of Bai Lao? The noble claimed to be a dead man, you need to work hard, but it was not. Girl, look at his skill. If it's so easy to hang out with high strength really and unpredictable whereabouts. After Chongan said this inexplicable sentence, catch up. The figure directly under Cloud's eyes turned into a layer of mist and disappeared instantly, but also can only wait for a chance to eat later. To ask. but there is no one to
took
ask.
back his wings from mid-air
Originally
and sat on
rigid,
Yunwoo's
fixed
shoulder.
in the mid-air of the soul body.
Scarlet big
but at this
cute
time,
eyes have returned to
finally can
normal.
play.
Behind the red hair
She
wings,
wanted to go down and return to the body
like a red
of Yunwoo,
dress,
but
wrapped
no
its
matter
whole
what she
body,
tried to
very
do,
happy
her
and
body
lovely.
was floating.
Small stinky
Light,
pink
just
face,
like a cloud,
like a
no
coquettish
weight at all.
rub cloud dance.
It
Feels
feels
like it's going to float
Hem.
away at any time.
The cloud dances
What
with a
to do?
smile and reaches out to
Are you
touch
really
it like
going
a
to
pet.
watch yourself hang up like
Seeing
this?
Hongling naturally
Even when
sour,
Yunwoo was
put his
worried.
big flower bud together.
The air that also
Master,
opened this
I
array
also want to touch.
suddenly jumped down 2 figures.
Good.
Cloud
Fix an eye
dance
to
can't
see,
laugh or cry,
unexpectedly,
but
is
also
that South
reach out to
Palace
touch
on
follow
its
up the
bud.
superior officer.
Hongling is satisfied
Dragon
and
4,
enjoys the
what's
cloud
the matter
dance.
with you?
At this
Why
time,
haven't you destroyed this place yet?
Nangong Yi
And
Shengguan was at
all
one
came
stop,
to her.
so he quickly asked,
Are you all right?
But when I saw
Long
the situation
Qingxie looked at her
clearly,
up and
I was
down.
scared by a flower on
He
the ground
saw
and
everything
an
that
inhuman
just
thing.
happened, including
But
the
when the
purple
sight
light
saw
and
the
the
cloud
cloud
dancing
dancing in the
stopped.
arms of Long Qingxie.
However,
He was stunned
it
and
seems that
asked,
this woman
what
did not
happened to
intend to
Xiao
tell
Wu?
him, and he did not
How
know.
about? How are
Before
you?
he finished speaking,
Nangong
he seemed to
asked
feel that the
gently.
cloud dance had no breath.
Xiao Wu, how did you
Dead?
become a woman?
Shengguan's
Shengguan
voice suddenly
also
seemed to
asked.
be cut off by something.
These 3 voices
When the
sounded
dragon
almost
heard
at the
the
same
sound,
time.
it seemed that the
Cloud
explosion
dance
switch
hears
had
the
been
sound
touched,
and looks
and
at
his
this
angry
angry
man
man
in front of
swept
her.
away.
For the
At this
first time,
his
his
eyes
eyes
were
were bloodshot
and
and
raises her
ferocious,
hand.
and his whole body was
It's
cold
good
and
that there's
angry.
no lack of arms and legs.
Even if he was far away,
Although,
he could clearly
I didn't
feel
kill
it.
the snow willow this time.
Shengguan shivered.
However,
It
it
let her get the
inexplicable
ancient
murderous
sword in her
spirit
hand,
of death poured
and
into
also
his
let her
heart.
find that the strange
He
black
didn't do
flame used
anything.
by Shuoyo actually
How could he
depended on
make
the
it
sword
look like
in her
he killed
hand.
the little 5?
That's enough to make her happy.
However, at
Because
this time,
the next time
Nangong
when
Yi
she
steps
confronts her
forward
head
like
on,
an arrow,
she will use
reaching
her
out
own
to touch
strength and
Yunwoo.
her cloud dance
Dragon
identity to
Qing
recover
evil,
what
but
she
a
owes
hand,
her.
resist,
Cold,
and she
angry
believed
eyes
that it was
staring
not
at
too
him.
far away
No one
from
can
such
touch
a
her.
moment.
Seeing that
Let
Yunwoo
me
was
see if
really
her soul
okay,
is still
Long
there.
Qingxie came forward and put out
Nangong
his
Yi's
hand to
voice,
push the
which
big
was
red
always
flower
mild,
away.
was low.
He threw the little
However,
stink on
also
Yunwoo's
didn't
shoulder
wait for
onto
the
the
dragon
dragon
to
to pour
Hongling.
evil to move below.
She's
The
tired
hand of
enough.
South Palace E has already quickly probed to Cloud Dance wrist.
You're going to be
In
alone.
a few seconds, Nangong
Long
Yi has
Qingxie
released
recovers
his
his
hand.
black eyes and glances
Standing
at them
up
with
at
a
the
hint
moment,
of threat.
he reached out and lifted
Hongling
the
and
white
Xiao
dosha on his head.
even if they are dissatisfied,
For the first
have a
time,
sense of
he
being
had no
forced to
scruples in
compromise
front
in
of
his
others
eyes.
and lifted the layer of veil
Small
on his
stinky
head.
lie on the big butt of
I
Hongling.
saw that under the
Had a
dosha,
small mouth,
he was as
a
handsome
face
and
attractive
attractive
as a god.
This man
The
is
only
really
surprise
annoying.
was that he had an eye on his
He is
forehead,
always fighting
like a
with
blue
him.
pupil
However,
in the blue
the dragon's
sky.
evil spirits don't
One
care what
person
they
has
think.
3 eyes, which
As
makes
soon as
people
the long
feel
arm
strange.
stretched out, when Nangong
However,
Yi followed
I have to say
Shengguan's
that his
face,
eye is
he
really
immediately
beautiful.
took Yunwoo into his arms.
Of course, at this moment,
With a Xuanba
no one
posture,
pays more
he
attention to
glanced
those.
at Nangong Yi and said,
When
if you
Nangong
don't
Yi
have
lifted the
anything to
veil,
do, his
you can
eyes
go.
quickly swept around.
Go.
Finally,
Before this,
in mid-air,
Shengguan would
the
like
cloud
to leave.
dance position is locked.
However, at this time,
For the first time,
it is like
Yunwoo
rooting at
knew
the
that
foot.
Nangongji's
There is no
third eye could
intention
see
to
the
go.
soul.
As
No
for
wonder.
Nangong Yi, it's
No
impossible
wonder
to
when
say
she
that
saw
he
him
let
for
him
the
go.
first time, she had a strange
Nangong
feeling
Yi's
that
white
her soul
dosha,
was seen
with a
through.
gentle smile on his handsome
After
face,
several meetings,
looks at
she
Yunwoo
always
and
felt
opens
as
his
if she
mouth
had been
gently.
seen through by him.
My poison has been
It turns
cleared.
out that this is not because
I
he
don't
saw
know if I
through
can
her
go with you
disguise,
for a while.
but how her appearance changes.
Just think of it
but
as a
also
reward
cannot
for my
change
help.
the essence of the soul.
How about it? In front of him, she is equal to the existence without any disguise.
Nangongji,
If
help
Nangong
me,
Yi
I
didn't
can't
add the
get
last
down.
sentence, Yunwoo
At
would
this
not
time,
agree. The only one who can
because
ask for help
the
is
purpose of her
Nangongji,
trip
who can
is to
see her.
improve her own strength.
She didn't
and then
want
go
to
to
die,
the King of
and
God
she didn't
Warrior
want to die
Academy.
like this. It's impossible
Especially
for them
when
to
she
follow.
saw the man who was almost crazy
However,
for her.
as soon
she
as
was
he said
really
that,
reluctant.
Yunwoo
Nangong
was
Yi's
silent.
eye also flashed a quick
She
color,
doesn't like to
but
be
he
in
didn't
debt.
answer Yunwoo.
This Nangong
Turning
Yi
around,
always seems
he
to
went
be
to
able
the
to
side
see
of
through
Long
her,
Qingxie
or
and said in
understand
a
her
low
character.
voice, I'll lend you some
What
blood.
you say can be used to the
At the
point
end of
just
the
right.
speech, he didn't wait for
Since
Long
he said that
Qingxie
he
to
would
do
go
it
with
himself
her
for a while. He didn't
He
say
didn't
that
know
he
where
would
to
follow
take
her
out a
all the
dagger,
time.
and then he crossed Long
Anyway,
Qingxie's arm.
there is still a long way to go
Blood
to the
coming
samurai
out of his
academy.
arm. Let's go for a
Nangong Yi
while
puts
and
his
wait
hand
until
on
the
his
time
blood,
to see the
turns situation, and then jumps to the
In
clouds.
this way,
It is regarded as paying off his favor. Cloud dance
Think about
small
it,
speech.
it's worth
Quickly
it.
stretch out that look some
So,
transparent
after
hand.
thinking about it,
But when the
agreed.
hand with dragon's blood
Of
touched her
course,
soul,
the
man around him is naturally
Zizi.
discontented. Like the kind of
It's
zizi
strange that
sound
Long
when the meat
Qingxia
is put on the
didn't
hot
insist on
iron
opposing,
plate,
although
it
he didn't
rings
look
in an
very
instant.
good. In the
Intense
end,
soul body was
Nangong
burning
left
pain,
and left with
suddenly
her.
hit the cloud. Seeing that Nangong
Barrett,
has
I'll
left,
take you back to
the
your
Shangguan
body.
is naturally cheeky,
Nangong
and then he
said,
will be a follower.
holding her hand.
The figure
Anyway,
quickly turned
his
back.
friend's
poison has been removed,
Long Qingxia's
and now
eyes
he
were
is
in
free
scarlet
again.
state,
And his whole
he can
body
go
was in the
wherever he
haze of
wants.
indignation. Then follow them for the time
Can
being
see the
and see what
South
thrilling things will happen in the
He
follow-up.
instinctively hurriedly will
By
be
the
in
way,
the arms.
have a
The
look
little
at the
woman's
beautiful
body
women
lay
and
flat.
raise their eyes.
Why?
The cloud dances
Long
a few
Qingxia
people.
doesn't know.
After leaving that 10,000
In other
animal
words,
gate base,
his mind has
Long
been blank.
Qingxia starts
The action
array
is in
that
the
Chong'an
instinctive
helped set
reaction.
before. All
We
he knew was
destroyed
that
the base
Nangong
directly.
Yi was the son of the national teacher.
There are too many people
so he
who
must
think
have
that something.
nightmares exist and are destroyed.
As soon as
Nangong Yi landed,
it's very
he quickly
pleasant.
sent Yunwu's soul into
However,
the body. Cloud dance a few
at the
people do
same
not
time,
know is the dagger also cuts
at
his
the
wrist.
moment
when the base was destroyed, Nangong a Yi
man
sensed
in a
the
black
blood from
robe
his
suddenly
suddenly
felt
felt
a
a
strange
strange
smell,
smell, which suddenly
Pure
lifted from
blood
his body.
has the
effect of cleaning the body
Destroyed.
and fusing the soul.
It's rubbish.
He knew that very well.
Sounds like old, but
it was
strong
also the
voice
first
from
time
the
he met
black
her that
robe.
he had seen something. After a while,
The
Yunwu
man
had
in
no
black
life
robe,
body, almost
suddenly
covered
a
in
tremor.
black robe, came out of the dark room. A sharp
The
cry
bright
of sunshine
pain
outside
suddenly
was
raised.
shining on him. Closed
Can
eyes
see
suddenly
unexpectedly.
opened.
Purple
There is a
eyes
layer of
suddenly
black
burst out
fog
of strange
cover
being.
on him, as if in that moment,
And the hand
the sky
exposed
clouds
under the
surging
black
fast,
robe was very
the earth
white and
also
beautiful.
shocked. It
Then,
felt that the
I
skin
saw
was
that
as
the
tender
withered
as a
branches on her
newborn
body,
baby, at the speed that can
as
be
for the
seen with the
face,
naked eye,
because of the
were
big
rapidly
hat on the
changing
black
back
robe,
to bright
the
green
man's
and growing
appearance
rapidly.
could not be seen.
Looking at this
Just
scene,
as the man in black
Nangong Yi
came
has
out,
retreated.
a young man, dressed
However,
like a Taoist
when he
priest,
retreated,
came
he
forward
said to the
respectfully,
dragon, "Your blood can heal
Master,
her wound.
are you out of the customs?"
When the dragon hears the evil,
the small one
he
is
moves
ready for the
quickly
bath.
across the palm of his hand.
Do you want to eat first?
The sharp pain of the
Or
whole
shower
body makes
first?
Yunwu return to the previous
The man in
torture
black,
again, known as the national
however,
master.
this
Raised
time,
his head
she
slightly.
clenched her teeth to keep herself
At this
awake.
time, I could see
She
clearly
really
the
tried
face
to
under
die
the black
before
robe.
she knew that she had too
It
many
was a
things to
handsome
do
young
and how
face.
unwilling she was to die like
About
this.
24 or 25.
So, she has to get
However,
through,
that
and she
handsome
has to
face
get
is
through
white
under the
without
dragon's blood,
giving
Yunwu's
people a
abdominal wound
like in
healed
the morbid,
quickly.
pale and weak, without
However,
any threat. The green willow growing from her abdomen is more and more vigorous
However,
and growing
when the
very
boy
fast.
looked up,
He lowered his head
After
in
a
a
while,
trembling voice.
the whole person of Yunwu was
I
wrapped
didn't
up
even
and
dare
became
to
a
look at the
cocoon
man's
shape.
face. However,
Has the
at
Lord
this
given
moment,
any orders
it can make
recently?
people feel clearly
The
that
national
she fell
teacher
down
man
and her breath
glanced at him,
recovered, still expressionless,
"Come alive,"
and asked in a low voice,
"She's alive."
The young man
This,
quickly shook
far
his
more
head
than
and said
any news,
respectfully,
makes
"No,
Long
the
Qingxia
Lord
feel
told
happy
no one
and
to
joyful."
disturb the national teacher when
It was
he learned
also
that the
at this
national
moment that
teacher
the
was in
dragon felt
seclusion,
that his heart
so
was
no one was
alive.
allowed to disturb him.
Once upon a time,
After
he
hearing
would
the
live and
speech,
die for a
the
woman.
national master lowered
But
his
what
head
people
slightly
don't know
and
is
covered
that,
his face under the black robe.
in the sky,
Two
bathed
figures
and
are standing
changing
above the
clothes.
clouds, overlooking
At
the
noon,
scene below.
I will meet the Lord.
When I saw Yunwu
Yes,
wrapped
after
up
the
in a
boy
cocoon
responded,
by the strange
he
willow
quickly
vine,
stepped back
I
and
was
prepared.
surprised. And the black
girl
robed
has-
national
it turns
master,
out that this
still
girl is a
standing
member
in
of
the
the
same
witch
place,
family.
motionless.
Very
Almost at that
strange.
moment, they both spoke at
Until
the same
good
time,
half ring.
but only half of the words
His
were
pale
spoken,
and
they
handsome
both
face,
stopped, suddenly raised,
turning
toward
around,
the south position.
they looked at each
curled
other.
up that pair of strange
Half a
black
ring.
eyes. You
I
and
wish I
are
had
in
a
the
chance to
north-south
see you.
irrelevant areas. An inexplicable word
Unexpectedly,
reverberates
after
in this
so
silent
many
courtyard.
years,
You old man broke
not
the
as
rules
Yunwu
first and
expected.
intruded into my territory.
Before she was fierce and hostile
Lofty
to
mouth
Shuelyo,
slightly raised
she began
radiant,
to retreat
that pair
in
of
an hour
strange
or so.
eyes, at this time is
Little
a deep
by
streamer.
little,
It began to settle
At
down.
this time, standing
When it's
beside him was an
completely
old
settled,
man with a
it's
long
day
robe
later.
and white hair.
However, to Yunwu's surprise,
It was the
her
mysterious
original
old man
strength at the
deep in
top
the
of the
northern
7th
Warcraft
level
forest.
stopped at the middle of the 8th level.
I wouldn't
after
have
this
come
power
here if I didn't have
precipitation.
to.
But what's your
That is to
relationship
say,
with that little girl?
after this time,
She
just
has
when
reached
Gao
the strength
talked
of the
with
mid-8th
Yunwu,
level. The mysterious old
For
man
her,
had just
there was a
arrived
sense
and
of
was watching in the
unexpected wealth.
distance. In
Lofty
addition,
smell
she
speech,
also got the
haha
Guru
smile
sword. Repair old
Maybe
man,
the biggest
you
harvest
this run
this
to my
time is the
territory
big
up,
knife.
but come to ask me
At
and
this
that wench's
time,
relation.
Dideo was
This is
brought
not
into
the
reverse
space by her, and because she
Xiola's
suddenly
face
followed
was still
two more
calm
men,
and dignified.
Yunwu had no chance to enter
After
the
looking
chaos
at the
hall.
sublime,
There was an
in
undercurrent
fact,
in his
she
dark
can find
eyes.
a place to rest.
By
He
the way
also
to
said
Chaos
directly,
Hall, the
with
little
that has
girl
been no
intruded into
movement
my
of black
orchard and
AO.
stole my 7 immortals.
Can let her have scruple now.
If she has nothing
that
to do
South
with
Palace
you,
E?
I will take her back to my
His
northern
eyes
forest.
can see through her soul.
7
Who
immortals.
knows?
She entered the Chaos
Sublime
Hall.
eyes in a
Will
flash
he see
across
through
the
the
bright
existence
color.
of Chaos
However,
Hall, very quickly but hidden
For
down.
Chaos Hall,
In the eyes of Cloud Dance, it is the last guy to save his his
Since
life.
you all say that this is my
Even Long
territory,
Qingxie,
then this
she
girl
has not
can't be
been taken
taken
back
up
by
by
you.
What's
However,
more,
it's
if you can give me
who
some
doesn't
7
know
immortal
about it at
fruits
all.
to relieve my craving,
Compared
it
with
can
the
be
northern
discussed.
forest, the southern Warcraft
Sublime
forest
is
is
serious,
much more luxuriant,
but let
and there
that
are lots of
repair
grass
facial
around it.
expression all instantly
At this
sink
time,
down.
Cloud Dance a few
After
people,
so many
in a
years,
day's walk,
you still
has
want to
walked
hit
in
me
the edge
some
of the
very
Warcraft
fruit.
forest.
Gao Gao turned
However,
his head,
it is not
glanced
clear
at
where
Xiu
Cloud
Lao,
Dance
and
is on
said
the
with a
edge.
profound smile, "Don't
Anyway,
forget,
the
the
two
real
little
use
guys
of the
who were
7
rushed to
immortal
the
fruits
front by
is only
Dragon
known to me.
Qingxia led the way along
Even
the way.
if you plant them, you can't
As for
really
whether
play
those
them.
2 little guys know the
It's
way or
better
not,
for you and me
it's
to
another
cooperate."
matter. The
only
elder's
good thing
deep
is
black
that,
eyes stared at Gao Shen
led
for
by
a
the
long
two
time,
little guys,
and his
they
face
didn't
was restored
encounter
to
any
its former
trace of
dignity.
Warcraft all the way down.
However, the voice
It's
but
estimated that I felt the breath of those
say,
two little guys in the morning,
my answer,
so I
you
slipped
should
away.
be very clear. Cooperation need not mention. Unexpectedly
Cloud
this
Dance
girl
is also
is in
happy
your
about
territory.
this.
Then I'll wait for her
And
out of
Long
your
Qingxia
territory.
and
I'll go to
Nangang
her
have
again.
a slightly different atmosphere.
The elder said, long
What's
sleeve a
wrong?
brush hand, body
I
shape
can't
and a
say
flash,
Cloud Dance.
twinkling of an eye out of the distance.
She really can't understand
Between
a
two
man's
breaths,
heart.
The old man disappeared.
In particular,
the man of
I
Long
have been
Qingxia
watching the
is
nobleness
even more
of the
puzzling
old man's
but
departure,
back.
and this has restrained the
Shenguan's
smiling
goods are
face
really
just
wonderful.
now.
Sharp
He doesn't like to provoke anyone,
some deep
so he
look
likes
to the
to
bottom,
provoke Hong
the
Ling
green
to eat
vine
and play.
wrapped into a cocoon like cloud.
Finally, he grabs
Girl,
the little red
you can
snake.
steal his 7 immortals
Make
under the
Red
old
Ling
man's
angry.
eyes. Several times all
You
want
really
to open
have
up
the ability.
appetite. Give him raw peel
However,
live swallow.
it's really the first person
It
to
was
let that
noisy
old
all the
man
way.
come to me in person.
It's going to be nice.
What's your secret?
Anyway,
Just
we
as
can't
the
get out of the
sublime
forest
murmured.
so quickly.
All of a sudden,
Otherwise, let's find a place
strange
to
breath
rest for
suddenly
one night.
rose in the air,
As if
Shenguan
it could wave
turns
all
his
things
head
in the
and
world
looks at
in an
Yunwu
instant.
and others.
The clouds
Cloud
surged
Dance
rapidly.
looked at the dragon
dark
nearby to
clouds
pour
began
evil,
to spread,
and looked
the
at the
wind
South
roared,
Palace
and a
that
rhythm
the
of
eyes
lightning
and
and thunder
thunder all the
followed.
time.
In addition,
Finally,
I
there was
didn't
a
bother
tremor
to
on the
ask
ground.
them, so I said,
It's
Hong
like some
Ling,
small
find a
earthquakes in the
temporary
beginning.
cave nearby and have a rest for
caused
one
a lot
night.
of commotion and panic to
Good.
Warcraft in the forest. What's
Hong
going
Ling
on?
answered and ran away.
Sublime is also
Cloud
a Lang.
Dance a few
To this
people
sudden situation
also stop at the
has a
same
touch of
place.
unexpected.
Wait for Red Ling to come back.
And soon, when a dazzling
Xiao
purple
Wu,
beam of
can I
light
ask you a
burst from the
question?
green vine cocoon on the
See
ground,
idle down,
Sublime's
and Dragon
eyes were
Qing
really
evil
shocked.
rarely did not hegemony in
I
Cloud
thought that the
Dance
girl
side.
was just a witch,
Shenguan
but I
suddenly
didn't
came
expect
forward.
that she was
Still.
staring at her asked. Inside the palace,
Cloud Dance looked at him one eye.
Queen
What
Shuoyo,
problem?
summoned by the emperor,
You said,
is
you
now
look
with
so
some
good.
royal nobles.
Why do you have to put on such a
accompanying Zhou
fate?
Batian to build a
Don't
luxurious
you feel bad
courtyard
about
in
it?
the imperial garden?
Shenguan
Enjoying
would come to
flowers
ask
and
this
dancing.
question because after leaving
It's
the base,
full of luxury.
Yunwu changed into an
But
ordinary
I don't know
teenager.
when. In a certain direction
Originally,
of the sky,
he wanted
suddenly
to
dark
appreciate
clouds,
beauty,
vaguely,
to nourish his
it
eyes,
seems to hear
but
the
he was
distant sound of
disappointed,
thunder and
which
lightning.
made him feel itchy and
However,
uncomfortable.
depending on the situation,
If Long Qingxia
the
had
heavy
not
rain
been
will
around
not
her
come
all
to
the
the
way,
palace,
he would have wanted to ask
What's
for it.
more, a courtyard has
Smell
been built in the
speech.
imperial
Cloud
garden.
Dance a tiny Lang.
Uncomfortable.
Even if it rains, it
What's
won't
wrong
get in
with
the
her?
way.
Camouflage,
So, it doesn't
whether for her
disturb
now
the
or
enjoyment
for
of
her
these
previous
people at
life,
all.
is like a necessity
However,
of life.
the snow willow sitting
In
on the right
particular,
side of
she does not
Zhou
even
Batian
know
suddenly
what her
felt like
enemies
something
are.
had fallen. At this time,
Palpitation
in
of
addition to
smoke,
the need to
face in
conserve
an
energy,
instant change.
the more important thing is to
this
disguise
the
themselves.
power of witchcraft in the Second
She
Awakening?
always remembers a sentence
Who
that
is
the
it?
man said to her at the beginning.
Who is it?
Before
Boom.
finding out the enemy,
A loud
she would
thunder
rather
from
be in the
far
dark
away
for 10
suddenly
years
rose
than
in
in the
midair.
light for a while, because
But
it
even
is
if
very
it's
likely
far
that your
away,
enemy
the
will
thunder
kill you
is
at
really
that time.
frightening. So,
I saw that
before
under
she's
the thunder,
really strong,
the people in
she's
the whole
not
imperial
qualified
garden,
to say,
including the
uncomfortable.
dancing dancers,
Hey,
were scared
little
to stay
five,
where they were.
Little five,
Are you
what's
stupid?
the matter? Or didn't
Zhou
you hear me?
Batian frowned, raised his
After
eyes
waiting
and
for a
looked
long
out,
time,
but the weather
I didn't hear
outside
Yunwu's
seemed
answer.
clear.
There is no
Shenguan
intention
couldn't
of
help calling
calling.
at all.
Yunwu
At
took
this
back his
time,
mind,
the eunuch
glanced
rushed
at
out
him
to
and
look
said,
around,
yes,
then returned,
but you should
bowing
know the
and
answer very
respectfully
well.
saying, Your Majesty,
Is he clear?
It's the direction to the south.
When did he know?
It's supposed to be raining
If
by
he
sight,
knew why she
and the
always
thunder
liked
is
to
coming
be like
from
this,
there, he would not come
when
to
Zhou
ask her.
Batian heard the speech,
However,
he didn't
at this
pursue it
time,
anymore.
Long Qingxia's low voice
There's
said,
thunder coming
You
from
don't
the
have
south.
a black veil on your face
No
all day
wonder
long,
there's a lot of
and
rain
you
in
haven't
the
even
south.
taken off your salad.
Yes, just now the thunder was a little loud. If you don't know why,
I almost
you
thought
can
it
go
was
now.
thunder in the dry weather. Long Qingxia is
If
a
it's
good
okay,
face giver.
if it's okay.
After coming,
Sitting
the
around
tall
the
figure
dignitaries
separated
and
him
nobles,
from the Cloud
see
Dance,
Zhou Batian
and the
face
black
is
eyes
not
coldly
changeable.
glanced at the
Also you a
Shenguan.
word eye language,
Shenguan
all said
is
with
depressed.
a smile.
But
However,
I didn't notice
this
that the
question
queen
also
sitting on
made him
Zhou
silent.
Batian's right hand was very
Seeing
ugly.
that the Shenguan was still
that
sensible,
pair of black
he
eyes,
let go.
as if to endure
The
something,
evil spirit
but
in the
not
corner
purple
of the
sweat.
dragon's mouth rose slightly.
Boom.
As
There
soon
was
as his
another
long
sudden
arm
thunder.
stretched out, he leaned
Xiaoyo's
lazily
face
against
suddenly
Yunwu.
turned white, as if
Little
she had been
things,
hurt by
when
something.
else do you want them to follow you?
Poof. In his
In
low
full
voice,
view of the public,
some of them
a
were
mouthful
dissatisfied.
of blood shot out instantly.
Cloud Dance glanced to
All the
overdue,
people present
saw
were
the man stand nearby, don't answer
After a while,
counter-question.
they all
You and
changed
South
their
Palace
faces.
how?
Empress.
Dragon Ching evil a sign,
Empress,
however,
what's
but
the
in
matter?
the peace between seconds The disappears.
voice of surprise.
Evil spirit
Zhou
smile
Badian
arc
still
suddenly
young,
vomited
smile
blood on
not
Shuo
smile
Liu,
of squint
his
stare
brow
at
wrinkled,
cloud dance,
and then he yelled
little thing,
angrily,
this
what are
is
you care
doing?
about me? Call the
Or do you
Imperial
care
Doctor
about
quickly.
Nenganji?
The sudden change over there is also happening. I saw that when the third thunderbolt
Cloud
cut through the
dance
sky,
campus swept
the
an eye
sky
dragon
was
to
covered
pour
with dark
evil one
clouds,
eye,
and the
gave him
rain
a
was
white eye
pouring
directly,
down. don't give me to
On the
diverge
square,
topic.
Long Qingxie,
This man's ability to diverge from the
Xiaochuan,
topic is really brilliant. All surprised, looking at the bright purple green
follow
vine
his intention
cocoon.
to be brought to his topic.
Falling rain, drenching on
Long
the
Qingxie
cocoon,
looked at the
seems
woman
to be
in his
absorbed
arms,
in an instant,
and his black eyes flashed a
green
touch of
vines
doting.
are moistened,
You little
and
thing,
small
what are
purple
you doing
flowers
so
emerge
smart?
outside the cocoon.
This makes me useless.
The faint fragrance of flowers
Yunwu
in my
naturally
heart can
won't
spread and
believe his
open all
complaint.
around under the heavy rain. This man's mind is
At
too
this
deep.
moment,
Everything in the world
sometimes
seems to be
she
quiet.
can't figure it out.
A few people in
Who
the
can
rain,
count him
no
more than
sound,
cleverness?
just like that, quietly
Come on,
staring
don't
at that.
talk.
The longer the more
Come
flowers
on,
out of the
what's
cocoon.
going on?
Can
Cloud
clearly
Dance
feel the
is
power
serious
of life in the
lies.
cocoon.
Stare
at him to ask away. There is
Also
something wrong
feel
with the
as if
atmosphere
everything has
between him
become
and
so
Nangong
comfortable,
Yi, so calm as water.
If it's
Even the
okay,
loftiness
it's
and the high
absolutely
altitude,
impossible.
there is a moment of Zhenglang.
Long Qingxie shrugged.
However,
it's really
still
nothing.
a monster
Just
that has
asked
lived
him
for
some
thousands of
questions.
years.
He didn't give me an answer.
In a masked
I gave him a little dumb
soon
medicine.
also reaction,
Let him quiet
eyes
for a few
appear
days.
surprised color,
Dumb
staring at the
medicine.
purple flower cocoon.
Cloud Dance looked at
The
the man
power
in front
of
of him,
witchcraft,
who was very relaxed.
No wonder
and
it can
suddenly
drive
he was
the aura
speechless.
between heaven and earth for
No
your
wonder,
own use.
she said how all the way
Now
down.
it's just the
Nangong
second
Yi
awakening.
did not say a word. The
It has such
atmosphere
strange
is not
power.
right strange. If you wake
It
up
was this
completely,
man, but
that girl
can let
will.
the dragon pour evil hand
Murmuring
matter.
to himself at the
Certainly
end,
will not
the
be some
sublime
simple
words
matter.
suddenly stopped.
What questions did you
However,
ask him?
the dark current in those
Yunwu
eyes
couldn't
swept
help
by at a
looking at
very
him
fast
curiously,
speed.
and there was a deep
But she
and
didn't know
mysterious
that she
feeling,
didn't mean
which
to
made
act like
people
a
feel
woman,
dangerous
which
and
was
so
strange.
dazzling to a man.
Cloud Dance in
Long
pain torment.
Qingxie looked at her
Already
as
don't
if
know
her
how
eyes
long.
were soft.
Anyway,
Can't
she
help
felt
but
that
grin
her
up,
whole body was
embrace
so
her shoulder
painful that
big
she had
hand
become
tight
numb.
between
But
two
she knew
men.
very well
I
that
can
her
ask
body
what,
was still
of course,
changing,
and
and
she
some
didn't know
women's
how and
business.
what it was like.
Women,
I couldn't get rid of
Cloud
the strange
Dance
feeling
eyebrow
that
tiny
bound
see
her.
you once.
Lift mouth
Still,
a glance at him.
she had to wait. Time goes
However,
by
he
little.
didn't ask him anything.
One
just
day,
staring at
2
him
days,
for a few seconds.
3 days in the
then he
square
took his
waiting
eyes
for the
back.
dragon Qingxie and others.
Long Qingxie
but also
seems
still
to know
quietly
too
waiting,
well, waiting for the cocoon
He knows
itself
where
out
her
of the
bottom
moment.
line is.
Just a few
This
days
little
later,
woman, although she has a
it
cold
seems
and
that the
heartless
cocoon
face
doesn't
from
mean
time
to
to
break
break
him.
it.
In fact,
On the
she
contrary,
also has her
the
arrogance,
purple flowers
even
grow
very
more and
arrogant.
more and more
Especially in the
luxuriant.
emotional. She does not
Finally,
understand the
Shangguan
amorous
was a little
feelings,
impatient.
as you knock next to Chase.
I said,
but also
this
the
place
pattern
is not
wind
too
does not
safe.
move. Do you want to take her out
But
to
once
find a
the
place to
emotional,
settle down?
it is
and then
absolutely
wait
the
slowly?
kind of clean and spotless.
If Nangong Yi didn't ask
It's not
for the base
easy
of
for
the
her to
10,000
change her
beast
attitude
sect,
towards him a little.
Shangguan really didn't want to come
It
back.
won't take long to conquer her
However,
heart.
he has been waiting here
Naturally,
these days
the
because of
dragon will not
curiosity.
dig his own grave.
Because that young man
I asked
clearly
him if
cut
he
off
had
the
any
gas,
thoughts on you.
but in the hands of Nangong
He came all
Yi
the
and
way
that
to
dragon
find you,
four,
and he
revived
followed you.
again, and was wrapped
said
into a
he was
cocoon
not
by
on
those
guard.
green vines. But Nangong
This
Yi didn't
really
answer,
surprised him
so
and
he was
made him
angry for her
curious.
husband. So you know
Anyway,
dragon
he
inclined
wanted
evil
to wait
hook
for the
lips evil
situation
smile
after
after
the
the
cocoon
dance
broke.
blinked, restore the previous
However,
appearance
we have
of the
been
rogue.
waiting for several days.
Seeing this,
No
Yunwu
matter
couldn't
how
help looking
curious
at
he
him.
was,
Some of his
does this
curiosity
man have
was
nothing
worn
to
away.
do when he's full?
What's more,
What's the
his
matter?
sense of crisis gradually rose after he regained his sense of
However,
reason. With this man's
I
character,
don't think this
it
place
seems
is
that he
safe.
can really do such a thing.
Long Qingxie hears the
Of
sound
course,
and gives
Cloud
him a cold
Dance is
glance
not
when he
stupid.
looks at him.
I know
He
it must be
obviously
more than
doesn't
that.
agree.
However,
On the other
Cloud
hand,
Dance is
Xiao
also
Smelly
regarded
and
as the
Hung Ling
whole,
turned to
and
stare
did
at
not
the
intend to
Shangguan.
break the casserole to
They were
ask
too
in the
lazy
end.
to answer him.
Actually, these three arrogant
Yunwu's guess is
attitudes
right.
made Shangguan feel depressed.
If it's just such a simple matter,
he is also
Long
a kind-hearted
Qingxie really
suggestion.
disdains to do it.
You know,
But
although
even he
this
didn't
beast
understand
gate is
that.
the base of the southern forest,
How could he tell
it is
her?
only a peripheral base
Master,
of the beast gate.
I have found a place.
If we let the real people
this
inside
time,
the base
the
know,
excited
the
voice of
consequences
Hung Ling
will
came
be
from
when
a
he
long
thought about
distance.
it. Shangguan could not
Then,
help shivering
I saw
and
a
glanced
big
at
red flower,
Nangong Yi, waving the two small
You say
branches and
something.
leaves.
Don't you want to
running
stay
back
here
from a
and
dense
wait for him
jungle.
to break the cocoon?
Rustle. Behind the
He
long
was
branches,
afraid that when the
but
time
also
came,
dragged the
what
chubby
he was
little
waiting
stink.
for was not Xiao Wu breaking
Master,
the cocoon,
where is
but the
cave?
dangerous opponent.
It's a big cave.
At this time,
Nangong
there are
Yi
many
took the white
delicious
veil
things in
to
it.
cover his handsome face
As
and
soon
his
as Hung
third
Ling
eye.
ran to Yunwu, she
Looking
was
at the
so
direction
excited
of
that she
Cloud
pointed
Dance,
to the
he
direction
said
it had just
calmly,
come back.
She can't move now. However, Yunwu
Naturally,
could not help
people
but look
present
down
heard
at the
that.
little stink behind Hung Ling,
Long
who Wuxia looked at the Shangguan and said
coldly,
"If you want to
What's
go,
the matter?
no one will stop you.
Are you fighting again?
He didn't say that he was going.
These two little guys,
When they are
seemed that
free,
he was
either
afraid of
compete
death
for favor in front of her,
Shangguan
or
is a
pinch
little
each other
stuffy.
and fight incessantly.
Has the final say.
Red Linga,
Well,
listen,
you have the
flower
final
bud
say.
force that tusk ground egg.
Anyway,
who want
if
to
you are
fight
in
with
danger,
that smelly
you
guy,
will be the first to
master,
play
you
it.
don't know. This
I am
smelly guy
worried
doesn't
about what
move
it
at all
is.
rules. In fine
Red
food,
Ling, that
didn't
flower
think
on
of
the
master.
tusk can't this
It wants
do.
to rush
A
to
close
eat.
to him.
So,
You
I'm
stinky
punishing
boy.
it. Don't
Give
let
chirp
it eat
again.
east and west.
Believe it or not, I eat
The little
you.
stink, who was dragged
Shangguan
behind,
was scared back
also
a step.
angry. The face under the black
He suddenly
gauze
raised his
seemed
sharp
to eat a
teeth
fly
and
like
was very
some ugly.
dissatisfied. Fortunately,
It's you who
at
stole
this
it
time,
first. You're a bad thing.
Ha!
It's like a little fangs exposed, fierce.
Although the voice is
dare
very
to scold
small,
me,
but the
believe
presence
it
of
or
people,
not,
whose ears
you.
are not sharp.
Small smelly
In an
smell
instant,
seems to be
everyone's
scared.
eyes
Small
looked at
mouth
the cocoon
flat,
that had been
suddenly
quiet for
2
several
tears.
days.
He looked pitifully at Yunwoo. Hemp, it wants to eat me.
A few
I'm
small
afraid.
cracks,
I don't
after
want to play with
cracking,
it, along
hemp
the
hugged.
branch of the green vine.
Then he
with not
waved the
fast
little
but
fat
not
claw
slow
to the
speed,
cloud.
bit by bit extended to
afraid?
break. Who
This
was in the
process,
cave just now?
people can't
so
help but
fierce
hold
that
their
he
breath,
bared his teeth and fought
inexplicably
with it.
nervous.
How many leaves
And at the
did you
moment
pull
when the
off?
slit opened, those
Now I
luxuriant
still have the
purple
face to
flowers
show
began
pity
to
in front
wither
of my
rapidly.
master. As a result, when the
Falsely
cocoon is
accused it.
completely split by the slit.
After hearing this,
The
Hung
outer
Ling was
layer
angry,
is already
and her
full of
teeth
dark
creaked,
purple fruits,
as if she wanted to drag it up to
Xiao
her
Chou
mouth
and
and
Hung
chew
Ling,
it.
who have been nestling
But Hung
around
Ling
Yunwoo,
didn't do that.
can't help swallowing
When
they
she was
smell
so
the fruit
angry,
fragrance with
she
their
threw it
keen
into her
nose.
mouth and planned to eat
Very
it first
greedy.
and then play.
However,
But the
at
result
this moment,
is,
they
almost
are very
did not
clever
jump its
quietly in
full-mouthed
place,
teeth.
staring at the cocoon
This guy
falling,
is as hard
waiting
as
for their
iron.
hemp master to
He
appear.
can't melt even if he is put
Dragon
into sulfuric
Evil
acid.
also inexplicably
Seeing
nervous,
its poor coquetry,
unconsciously
Hung
clenched
Ling
his
was
fist.
angry and angry,
and
and
the
wanted
flower
to go
bud
forward,
was full of
but I was
fangs,
worried
which
that
made
it
a
would
loud
hinder her.
noise.
Nanganji
Mama,
is probably
I'm
the
afraid.
most peaceful one among
Small
several
Stink
people.
directly ignore the molar,
Because he has seen
small
her
pitiful
safety.
big sprout
What else
eyes,
can he worry about?
watery looking at the cloud.
Suddenly,
Cloud Dance
Brush.
can't see the nature of these
In
two
the
little
air,
guys. Several extremely fast
strong
strange
eater,
attacks
a
suddenly
cute
hit
and
in the
vicious
void.
one,
are not simple
Originally,
goods. He was still staring at the dragon Qingxie, who was
Looking
dancing
at
in
them,
the clouds
Cloud
and breaking
Dance
the
can't
cocoon.
help laughing and crying.
At that moment, the
Well,
golden pupil's
didn't you say
killing
you found the
intention
cave?
appeared.
Lead
Almost
the way.
in that second, his
At
body
this
was
time,
strangely
the
flashed.
mouth is the
A
dragon.
cold light flew out of the air.
See,
and the
under
Ape
his
split
deep
away.
eyes.
Clang,
Hung Ling,
who was so angry that she was
The attack
grinding
of
her
sneak
teeth,
attack is
suddenly
directly
disappeared.
resisted.
And that little
Nangang
stink,
Yi is also
although
in
not
that
too
moment,
bird him,
body shape
but
in a
also did
flash,
not continue
long
to
sword
pretend
ling
poor.
out,
His
his
deep
deep
grievances
stare
like
at that
look
look
at the
at
cloud.
a peer of 5 people
Then,
in black.
obediently Ren Ruhongling
Who are you?
continued to drag it,
Just
leading the way
now,
to the
they
cave.
didn't feel anyone coming.
Seeing this scene,
Even
Shang
they are
Guan
not
raised
aware
his
of it.
eyebrows and looked at the
It
dragon.
can be seen that the strength of these
Although
people
his
is
eyes
not
can
simple.
see through the source of human
The
strength.
5 men in black, who
However,
were flying in
from
the
the
air,
beginning,
were all
he could not
expressionless
see
with
through the
cold
real
eyes.
source of this man.
Eyes,
From
it
the
seems
beginning
that
this
this
man
man
must have a lot of
is
talent.
breaking the cocoon of the Cloud
And the
Dance
South
body.
Palace E. In one
Our
side,
goal is
although
not
looking
you.
at them, but still
If
a
you
don't
are
speak.
wise, get out of the way.
Led by Hung Ling, several
Otherwise,
people
don't
went through
blame
the
us
dense
for
jungle
removing
and
you.
came to a bamboo forest.
The middle-aged man in black,
Is there
who
a
was the
bamboo
leader,
forest in
gave
the
a cold
Warcraft
glance
forest?
at the dragon Qingxie.
This, however,
The man was
is
quite
quite
novel.
novel, just a sword.
However,
no, the strength
along the way
did not
peak.
encounter any Warcraft.
In their eyes,
also did not
it's
feel
not
any
enough.
danger. A few people
However,
also
the
continued
man
to go
who
to
has
the
just
bamboo
resisted
forest.
their attack is the only one
in the
they
lush
can fear.
bamboo forest. The
Because,
air is very
with their
fresh.
current strength, they didn't
The
feel
more
the
you go
fluctuation
in,
of
the
the
more
man's
comfortable
strength.
you feel.
That can only
But at
show
the bottom
that
of
the strength
Yunwoo's
of
heart,
that man is
he
either the
suddenly
same
felt
as them
a little
or higher
strange,
than them.
and felt that something was
Such
not
a young
right.
boy can have
Be
such
careful.
strength. How can people not
Something's
fear it?
wrong. When Long
Yunwoo
Qingxie
whispered
heard
to
the
the man
words,
beside
he
him.
suddenly drew a cold and
Dragon
bloodthirsty
Qing's evil
smile
mouth
arc in the
slightly
corner of his
raised.
mouth.
Deep black
You don't
eyes
need to
looked
look
down
down
at
at her
us.
one eye, doting over.
I'll send you
It's
down
okay.
first.
It's safe here for the time
Later,
being.
I'll send
your
your
husband
husband
to see you.
In
Cloud
recent
Dance
days,
smell speech.
he has been
Can't
patient
help
for a
but
long
slant
time.
ahead to see him one eye.
Originally
Who are
in the
these
bottom
people?
of my heart uneasiness,
Long Qingxie knows
inexplicably
very well
calmed
in his
down.
heart. Master,
Since the queen
it's
has
here.
already sent people to
Come
the door,
quickly.
he will vent well.
At this time,
Under
under
the
the
language
language
voice
came.
The
The whole aura of Dragon
past,
Qingxie
there was
has
a
changed
hidden
greatly
cave
just
in an
above the
instant,
cliff in
and
the
there is
bamboo
no hiding
forest.
at all.
Come on,
The strong
go
air
and have a
belongs
look.
to the peak of the great warrior.
Well,
just like the explosive
few
thunder
people
that is
also
stretched
walk
to the
toward
limit,
that cave,
which can spin in an instant.
Whoosh.
Hold the ape in hand.
There is a small
and jump
sound
up.
of something sliding
Who
between
the cold
plants.
light flashed and the ape
Just
roared.
about to step into the cave
The
of
5
Cloud
men in
Dance.
black in
Can't
the air
help
were
but
all
step a meal.
surprised and alert when they felt the
Frowning,
strength of the dragon.
he turned his head and swept the woods
Samurai
behind
peak.
him.
At the
5
same
men
time,
in black
his
looked
mental
at each other.
power spread around.
At the moment of Dragon's
Everything,
evil attack,
swept by
the
her mental
tacit
power,
understanding was
clearly
completely
appeared in her
scattered.
mind.
They are all
But the
big
wind is
assassins.
still,
The
5
life
to
is
1,
still
absolutely more than
I
enough.
didn't feel anything different.
However,
The target they want to kill this time is the man in the cocoon on the ground. Just as Cloud Dance frowned and swept towards the bamboo in the moment of separation, Dragon Xingxia stopped and glanced out. In 3 directions directly against the dragon. His sight, reached for her waist and said, straight to the cloud on the ground. Go in and have a look at the delicious food. The corner of the dragon's eyes sweeps, and the golden pupils rage flies by. Just after the 2 entered the cave, all of them are looking for death. At that moment, under the green bamboos, the strange black light of the Apei and Long Xingxia's hand flits the bamboo leaves and falls in the void with the force of lightning. As if there is a living body, issued a very small, a man in black sound. Suddenly, his body was directly split open. Plasma, like
If
blood in the
people see
sky,
this,
exploded
it will
in everyone's
certainly raise a kind
eyes.
of numbness of scalp.
And this scene,
All of a
however,
sudden,
several
shocked
people in
everyone.
the cave did not know this scene,
Including the 3 men in black
as soon
who
as
were
they
besieging
entered
the
the
dragon.
cave,
They
they
were
were
all
attracted by a
shocked.
strange aroma of fruit.
How is that possible?
Master, the
He
fruit
can be
here is
separated from
delicious.
Space.
Looking at the next
Try it.
Shangguan, is also a moment of
Hungling nest in a
consternation.
deep corner of the
cave,
chin
from an
some
unknown
can't
vine,
close.
picked a red fruit,
Although he
and
knew
handed
that
the
it to
strength of the
Yunwu.
dragon 4 was stronger
seeing
than
the
that of
fruit,
him,
he
Yunwu
never
couldn't
knew
help
that this
raising her
powerful
eyebrows.
was not a little bit.
Flame fruit. Nanganji, if you let anyone touch her
Cloud
hair,
Dance line
I'll
of
peel
sight
your
can't
skin.
help but sweep toward all
Long
around.
Qingxie's cold voice came
It was
from the
found
air.
that the vine extended to the
Nan
whole
Gong
cave,
Yi, who was
forming
holding
at least
a
a dozen
sword,
fruits.
looks at a man in black who
At
is
the
attacking.
beginning,
I heard from Long
his eyes
Qingxie
are
that it
cold.
took 500 years for
That
this
white
flame
dough
fruit to
gauze under the
blossom and bear
handsome
fruit.
face.
Also slightly
It's rare
raised
to
a
have a
touch of
flame
cool
fruit.
color, light responsive
At the
voice.
beginning,
When
rest
Hongling
assured.
was still a seed,
Without
she
his
sucked up
warning,
all the
he
flaming
would not
fruits she had
stand by
managed
for
to
her.
get. The white clothes
Unexpectedly,
brush,
there are
the
so
South
many in this
Palace-y
cave.
figure already quickly Ling rise, straight to greet up. I don't know if I don't do it. But
I'll
at this
attack
time,
the fatal
another
point of the
voice
man
of
in
surprise
black.
suddenly came from the other
The
corner.
white shadow is like a mirage.
Look, isn't this chiffon?
Its ruthlessness and speed
Shangguan was a
completely
little
exceed
excited
the strength
and pointed
of
to
the
the
8th
corner
level
of the
peak.
wall. Only
In the
2
natural
rounds
small
later,
pool,
the man
it
in
was
black
like a
began to brush a look
transparent
of
glass,
surprise
and his
in
eyes
his
were
disdainful
shining.
eyes.
How can you hide your strength all
As
the
soon
time?
as Yunwu heard this,
Looking
his
at
heart
Nan
moved
Gong
and he
Yi,
turned to
the
look
man
at what
in
he was
black is
referring
full
to.
of coldness and fierceness.
Almost transparent grass.
Nan Gong Yi
Quietly
didn't
in the
answer
pool.
him,
But he was moving
if it's
faster
not just
and
the
faster.
setting sun, you can't
Because
find it
it's
in the
not
little
far
light
behind.
refracted in.
Its cloud dance Shangguan
Looking at the
looked at the
Zhilan
situation
grass,
above and
Yunwu
below.
felt a little excited.
Because the name of Zhilan grass is one of the herbs that Hyo mentioned to her last time. I didn't even record the dragon scroll, which really made Yunwu not know what Zhilan grass was like. But did not expect that it was such a small translucent grass. You may not know that this herb is one of the best medicines for repairing soul damage. The most important thing is that this orchid grass is very rare, because this orchid grass is very fragile, absolutely cannot be contaminated with any ground turbid gas, all, must use the purest natural water, coupled with the installation of heaven and earth aura, 100 years to shape. Look at this small orchid grass estimated to have 200 or 300 years, did not expect, this time was so lucky. The more excited the Shangguan was, the more Venus would appear in his eyes staring at the orchid grass in the small pool. In fact, for a pharmacist, seeing the best medicine is just as exciting as those greedy people seeing countless gold and silver treasures. Hearing what Shangguan said, Yunwu was a little surprised. It turns out that this Zhilan grass is so precious. No wonder. No wonder that Hyo would have said that she had not been able to find the herbs on those prescriptions. Even the dragon scroll has no recorded information. If she is allowed to find it by herself, it is estimated that she really can't start. It's a big bargain to meet today. However, looking at the Shangguan's blood in his eyes, it seems that he is determined to get this Zhilan grass. But it's not easy. However, just as Yunwu was thinking a little, the man around him whispered. Little thing, what do you think? Cloud Dance returned to God, looked at the dragon nearby, said, nothing, just feel just outside not quite right, tonight, I'm afraid it won't be too calm. Dragon Qing evil mouth evil spirit slightly yawned, suddenly came forward, you give small things, your careful thought for husband how can I know, if you want that Zhilan grass, later, take the opportunity, but remember, by the way with the pool water, otherwise, that Zhilan grass can't live. With that, Long Qingxie withdrew his body and resumed his usual laziness. Smell the cloud dance of speech, can't help looking up, looked at him. Did he know that she was thinking about the orchid in her heart? This man is really sharp-eyed. Long Qingxie naturally noticed Yunwu's sight. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and he rubbed her little head. Well, I'll go to Nanganji to have a chat. You can take advantage of the time to collect the good things around you. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will be too late. With that, Long Qingxie didn't wait for Yunwu to answer, so he turned around and walked towards Nanganji, who was standing at the entrance of the cave. Looking at the departing dragon, Yunwu doesn't know whether to cry or laugh. This man, sometimes, is not too smart to feel terrible. However, hearing his words, Cloud Dance also temporarily shifted its attention to the Zhilan grass. The cave is very big. On the cliff of the cave, there are layers of vines, and the fruits of flamingo are hanging around the wall. Hongling and Xiaoqiu didn't get Yunwu's approval. So, even if I looked at the fruit in the cave, I didn't pick it. This can't help but make Yunwu feel more pity for these two little guys. Before it was really dark, Yunwu asked them to help pick the flaming fruit around. Of course, by the way, I dropped one into the two little guys' mouths, which made them addicted. After the flamingo was picked, there were 12 of them, except those eaten by the two little guys. Cloud Dance also did not say much, 4 people, directly 1 person 3 points. After collecting all the flame fruits in the cave, the temperature in the cave obviously began to drop a little. The night has fallen. It was dark and quiet outside. There was a fire in the cave, which made the whole cave bright. Xiao Wu, you are not a pharmacist anyway, that Zhilan grass is of no use to you. It belongs to me. Here are my 3 flame fruits. I'll give them to you. From the beginning, Shangguan's eyes were fixed on the orchid in the corner. Originally this is also precious flame fruit, but in his eyes but no attraction, immediately, also with Cloud Dance first to discuss the deal. Because he knew very well that among several people, the only one who could rob Zhilan grass from him was Xiao Wu. Cloud Dance smell speech, lift mouth to see him 1 eye, half day didn't open mouth. This Shangguan heart a horizontal, directly in the hands of the 3 flame fruit into her arms. You don't make a sound, I will when you agree. Well, first rest, when you leave tomorrow, I will think of a way to take the Zhilan grass away. Silence is acquiescence. No matter whether she agrees or not, Shangguan just thinks that if she accepts his 3 flame fruits, she will not rob him again. As soon as it was light tomorrow, he would go out to look for a container for his eyes and take away the natural water and orchid. It's the best medicine for alchemy. It's especially used to repair the soul, but it's really hard to find. Now it's hard to meet him. He wants to get it. However, Shangguan didn't know. Here, in addition to the cheeky man of Long Qingxia, there is also a woman who only likes to play cards according to her own common sense. What's more, that's what she's going to get. Cloud Dance looked at the satisfied Shangguan who closed his eyes to sleep, then looked down at the 3 flame fruits in his hand, and didn't bother to talk to him. The hand moves, directly put that flame fruit into the space. Anyway, it's not for nothing. However, she never promised him anything. So Long Qingxia approached Yunwu. He naturally heard the words of Shangguan and Yunwu just now. Little thing, it's very hard to meet. If you want to, you'll have to do it quickly. He whispered in her ear. Hot breath in the ear, crisp, let Cloud Dance can't help but push his ambiguous posture. Okay, I know. You have a rest, or wait. Rustle. Cloud Dance that words haven't finished, outside, suddenly rang out, such as wind with leaves rustle sound. At night, some evening winds are not surprising. However, Cloud Dance suddenly frowned, and a sharp luster passed from the fundus of the eye. Long Qingxia also raised his eyebrows slightly and raised his mouth slightly, but he said to Yunwu in a low voice, I didn't expect that something would happen so soon. Wait a minute, be careful. Yunwu nodded, be careful yourself. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, the corner of the mouth smile deepen, obviously hear her concern and pleasure. At this time, the Shangguan, who closed his eyes, seemed to notice something was wrong. He suddenly opened his eyes and stood up from the ground. Something's coming out there. Nangong Yi stood up and took a look at the Cloud Dance when he heard the rustling sound outside. After confirming that she and Long Qingxia had been aware of it, she stood outside the cave and stared at the darkness outside the cave with her eyes under the white veil. Hongling and Xiaoqiu seem to be aware that something is not right. They are close to Yunwu. Little thing, I'm afraid it's a little tricky this time. Wait a moment. If you have a chance, you'll leave first and go to the city of Shenwang Samurai Academy at the junction of the 3 kingdoms to find the waste. Long Qingxia's black eyes staring at the outside of the cave suddenly sank down. Leave first? Cloud Dance frowns and turns her head, looking at the man beside her. I saw that Long Qingxia's face seemed too deep. This man seldom shows such a look. What's the matter? Is it true that things outside are so terrible? So terrible that even he showed this kind of expression? Without waiting for Yunwoo to ask him. At this time, in addition to the rustling sound, there seems to be a fine sound of quicksand outside the cave. Getting closer finally, the movement stopped. It's just outside the cave. Be careful. Shangguan's face sank. He had already taken out the weapon in his hand, and his face was full of vigilance. Outside the cave, in the dark. Countless strange green light, suddenly flashing, in the air, a strange smell of a trace of blowing. As soon as Long Qingxie smelled it, he put out his hand to cover Yunwoo's mouth and nose for the first time. Stop breathing. There's psychedelic poison in the smell. See, in Long Qing evil voice of fall, Shangguan and Nangong Yi also quickly cover the nose and mouth. Brush. In the dark, a gloomy cold light, volleying into. Nangong Yi, standing at the entrance of the cave, his face slightly changed under the white veil, and his figure suddenly retreated. Bang! There was a loud bang. The cave vibrated and the dust rose. But also let a few people in the cave see clearly what it is. Tongue. Wisteria. Snake tail. It's not like any of them, but it feels like all of them. It was like a red and purple whip. It was wet and sticky, but it had countless tusks. It was very disgusting. And the smelly and psychedelic poison in the air is emitted from the viscous liquid. What the hell is it? As soon as Yunwoo saw that thing clearly, his consciousness rushed into the Hall of Chaos, trying to get some information from the Dragon Scroll. However, the tornado did not move, I do not know is not recorded, or incomplete records have not yet come together. Little things, take the opportunity to take what you want, let Hongling take you away. Long Qingxie said to Yunwoo in a low voice that the épée in his hand had been released. What is it? Since you know it at the beginning, why don't you say it early? Looking at the man around her has been driving her to go first, Yunwoo can't help but glare at him. He does not know whether he is well. What does it mean to let her go at this time? Afraid she's a burden? Or worried that she would drag him down? Look, even so, she can't leave by herself at this time. He's right. You go first. At this time, Nangong Yi, who had not opened his mouth all the way, turned his head to look at Yunwoo and said in a gentle voice. Isn't he drugged by Long Qingxie? Cloud Dance frowned. At this time, the strange sound outside began to ring again. Shangguan didn't know what riddles they were fighting, but he still turned to the clouds and said, You woman, what are you talking about? Since they let you go, you just go. Can't you see that they both want to protect you? Even though the Shangguan is a rascal on weekdays, he has some virtue of being greedy for life and afraid of death. But a lot of things he didn't say in his eyes. Protecting her. Yunwoo's eyes were dark. She was really weak now. Do you want them to protect her so carefully? No, I came with you. If you want to go, you can go with me. In a moment, Yunwoo turns around and walks to the small pool of Zhilong grass in the corner. I don't have to worry about anything. As soon as Cloud Dance connects to Chaos Hall, it doesn't use any containers, and its hands brush the Zhilong grass. In the twinkling of an eye. See, that small pool and that G-orchid grass, directly was sent into the Chaos Palace. Yunwoo doesn't know if it will destroy Zhilong grass. However, it seems that the present can only be so. Hongling, Xiao Smelly, if you are afraid, you will leave first. The Cloud Dance hand turns over, that ancient martial arts big knife, instantly appeared in her hand. Who the sword roared. Master, Hongling is not afraid. Hongling immediately straightened out. Small Stink like to learn, quite that small chest, numb, Stink is not afraid. Rustle Sha Sha. Outside, the sound of quicksand rubbing with leaves sounds more and more clearly. Seeing Yunwoo, Long Qingxie didn't want to leave. He didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Sometimes, this little thing is stubborn and worrying. But she did not leave, it must be because of his reasons, which made his heart happy. Little thing, wait a minute, you. I said that if you want to leave, you should leave together, and if you want to stay, you should stay together. Don't chirp. I will be careful. You should watch yourself. Don't ask me to help you at that time. Cloud Dance, in fact, is not good at caring about people, and will not say anything that is greasy and crooked. But she didn't feel it. She can still remember the posture they took when they protected her at the gate of Beast's base. If they can protect her, why can't she fight with them? However, at this time, all of a sudden, there was a sense of vibration in the cave. Immediately, I felt the things outside the cave pouring towards them, and the cold was pressing. The first one whose face suddenly changed was Shengguan. Because from his point of view, I just saw clearly what caused the ground vibration outside. The reaction between Long Qingxie and Nenganji was not slow. With his keen intuition and vision, he looked out of the cave. Their faces sank slightly. Cloud Dance's eyes also swept out of the cave. Suddenly, his eyes widened, his brows wrinkled, and his cold eyes swept a purple light. Centipede? I saw that from the outside out of the ground, is a soil-colored centipede. But then, behind is the red-black spider, the dark red scorpion. The long tail peak glitters with cold light, and the first two eyes protrude. A row of tusks are sharp, and the lifting of them can't stop. How many? Third-order centipede, spider peak, scorpion. The attributes are all soil series, with strong toxicity and extremely fast speed. Although the attack power is not strong. However, because of small size, and these are social warcraft. The attack of the group, even the 9th level warrior, is hard to withstand. The location of Yunwu and other caves may be the center of their gathering. There was a rustle outside. It was estimated that those things were still coming up under the ground. Now look at the green cold light outside, you can see the dense number. What would it be like if all the underground gathered? It's creepy to think about it. What's more, in addition to these, there is something like throwing out a disgusting tongue, and I don't know what monster it is. Looking at the dark outside the cave. I don't know why, there is a sudden chill in Yunwu's heart. Looking at the situation, hard work is not the way. After going out, whoever has the opportunity will get away first. Cloud Dance words, the other three agreed to nod. Cloud Dance at this time, also did not delay time, hands turn up, fire element jump up, suddenly buckle. Roar. The fire dragon is condensed. At that moment, the fire dragon suddenly swept away the centipede and scorpion spiders that were pouring into the cave. The burning fire is shooting at the vegetation outside the cave. The original dark night, after the fire, became a glimmer of light. But also let people see clearly, the scene outside the cave. Originally from the ground, I do not know the right soil has turned up, dense scorpions, spiders, centipedes and so on, are also intermittent from the soil. On the bamboo forest outside, there is a shimmering cold light. Something purple like vines twines around the bamboo forest like a net. What the hell are those wisteria? Where on earth did they come near? With the light of the fire, Yunwu, who could see clearly the situation outside, didn't look very good. Don't be silly, run quickly. Shengguan reaction, in a neat room, quickly raised his legs out of the cave. Seeing this, Nangongyi didn't wear any more. His figure was very neat, so he went out of the cave. Long Qingxie directly reaches for Yunwu, turns on the motor and ignores others. Yunwu originally wanted to take Hongling and Xiaoqiu, but Long Qingxie was too anxious to drag her. She didn't have time to drag them, so she could only shout. Hongling, stink, follow up quickly. Little Smelly looked at the things pouring in from the outside of the cave, and frowned like disgust. What an ugly thing. However, it is still bumpy, and quickly chase out. Hongling looked at those scorpions, it wanted to say, it is really not afraid. Because in its eyes, these spiders and scorpions are delicious food. It's mouth-watering and greedy. But when it struggles from delicious food, where is the master in the cave? Master, wait for me. Hungling suddenly a spirit, quickly toward the direction of the mountain cave chase. As soon as they got out of the cave, they did not withdraw towards the bamboo forest, but ran towards the shrub forest on the other side of the mountain while Shengguan leads the way. Some people don't choose the right way. The speed is really fast. Hungling was a little out of breath, but she didn't forget to ask. Master, you don't have to run. I can eat all the things that come after you. The cloud dance has already mobilized the elixir field, and the wind element has also been used, but the speed is still slower than that of the dragon. So, she's almost running in the dragon's arms now. As soon as Hungling catches up with her, she creaks. It's really a headache. But at this time, the four did not care about it. If there are only those scorpion spiders, how can they run? At this time, let Cloud dance. Some don't understand. Isn't this the edge of Warcraft forest? How can there be so many third-order social Warcraft? What's more, there's the ghost, but it's obvious that Yunwu can't understand the answer for the time being. The rustling sound behind seemed to be getting closer and closer, and even the crack of the scorpion's pincers could be heard. What's going on? They have run so fast, how can they catch up? But at this time of Cloud dance a few people, where no. If you look down from the sky at this time, you will find that the 100-meter circle they are in is surrounded by the strange wisteria. Now they, although it seems to have been running forward. But actually, it has been running around the circle centered on the cave. That dense scorpion spider, is quickly chasing behind them, has been running in front of the four people as prey, a pair of raised beast. It is full of excitement and blood. They seem to know that this place has been strangely isolated into a space. These prey, but can't escape. What's the matter? How come it's getting closer and closer? I feel that the following movement seems to be getting closer and closer. It seems that I can hear the penetrating click sound and the squeaking sound of those scorpions. It shouldn't be. Even if she and that officer's strength has not broken 9 levels, but the speed is not weak at all. How could it not even run the 3rd level Warcraft? Cloud dance eyebrow more wrinkly, in the heart more and more feel not right. Until. No, this place seems to have just run once. Cloud dance's words, let Shengguan and Nangong Yi all pay attention to all around, seem to immediately also notice. Damn it! How can there be such a strange place? Nangongji, aren't you the son of the national master? Do you have any idea? Shengguan's running speed didn't stop at all. Nangong Yibai's eyebrows were also tightened. I've seen something similar from an ancient book. It's like a labyrinth array. Labyrinth? Since you've seen it, you should know how to break it. Then why don't you break it quickly? I'm running out of breath. Nangong Yi shook his head. There's no way. There's no way to crack it in ancient books. No way out? On hearing this, Shengguan felt like crying. Did they just keep running? However, in addition to Shengguan's mood, Yunwu's face changed slightly. Because, just now, she suddenly felt that there was something shaking in the sea of consciousness. Then, her connection with Chaos Hall was isolated by something. Cloud Dance tried to transfer the link several times, but nothing happened. How could that be? What on earth is this place that can isolate the Chaos Hall so motionless? Long Qingxie, do you have any way to leave this place? Cloud Dance turns ahead to look at the dragon nearby to pour evil to ask away. The depth of this man, Cloud Dance has not been clear. However, since she knew him, she didn't seem to see anything difficult. What's more, he knew the crisis early in the morning, but if they came in, he must have some solution. Long Qingxie nodded, his feet did not stop slowly. The changes in this place are beyond my expectation, but believe me. But at this time, next to the Shengguan but quickly said. Dragon 4, you have a way, so please hurry up. It's not the way for us to run all the time. If that ghost comes out, it's really miserable. I'm afraid it's too late. Look ahead. Nan Gongyi's gentle voice was low. The four looked forward. The four people, who had been running rapidly, changed their faces slightly and stopped for a moment in front. There are more than 10 large scorpions, spiders and centipedes. The front 10 are all colorful, and each one is half a person tall. There are also 3 in the back, dark earth and black, which are smaller than the first 10. They have sharp eyes, but they are creepy. The front is the 5th level, and the back 3 are the warcraft that broke through the 6th level. Dragon Qingxia saw the dozen warcraft and said a word with Cloud Dance. Nan Gongyi follows the officer and sees the 13 warcraft blocking their way. His face sinks coldly. In particular, they all seem to know the level of warcraft. Level 6 warcraft? The Cloud dances to smell speech, the face is also a little dark to sink down. The 6th level warcraft began to breed wisdom, and will gradually have the same thinking as people, which is far more than the difference of the 5th level. Yunwu broke into the warcraft forest in the north and the warcraft forest in the south, and never really met the 6th level warcraft. But I didn't expect to be on the edge of the forest today. Unexpectedly unintentionally broke into such a ghost place, not only met behind a group of closely pursued group of clan body warcraft, but also met 3 level 6 warcraft. Did you mean to joke with her? The number of the 3rd level is big enough. 10 of the 5 levels are hard to deal with. How could there be 3 6th level? With the 4 of them and the 2 little monsters, it must be difficult for them to fight their way out. What's more, I'm still trapped here, and there's something strange hidden in the dark. God damn it. Where on earth is this? What to do? Dragon 4, how can you break this place? So that we can get out. Shangguan asked in a low voice. The sharp claws of his hands had just stopped when they turned into beasts. There are a lot of warcraft coming from behind, although they haven't caught up for the time being. But it felt like it was coming. Nan Gongyi, holding a long sword in his hand, also stood beside Yunwu. He raised his eyes and glanced at the dragon. I'm afraid it's not so easy to break the battle, otherwise, he would have done it long ago. But his words, is to let the Long Qing evil eye ground slightly sink a few minutes. Because, Nan Gongyi is right. This maze can't be solved so easily. Otherwise, he won't take her all the time at the beginning. As long as you can find the center, you can crack it. So simple. What do you say is the central point? I'll break it. It's hard for Shengguan to be bold. At this time, Nan Gongyi said in a gentle voice, if you can arrange this array and gather so many warcraft to guard here, this place must be something that someone wants to guard, and the central point is probably the one that has never appeared terror. It means that the central point is the place where the terror has not moved. If you want to break the battle, don't you want to fight against that terrible thing? Feng Shi's hand, that half-person Gao Guwu big knife, has already grasped in the hand, the eye already drips the cool light. Where is it? I'll go. If she hadn't asked them to find a place, they wouldn't have come here. What's more, since she is a witch, the power contained in her body will never be in this state. You're a little thing. You want to steal the limelight of your husband before you've warmed up for him. You really don't understand the amorous feelings. Long Qingxia can't help rubbing Yunwu's head. Yunwu frowned, pushed his hand away and looked up at him. Cloud Dance originally wanted to say something, but when a pair of his deep black eyes, he couldn't say it for a moment. Believe me. Only I can break this array. Long Qingxia stared at her and said this. What's the odds? Cloud Dance was silent for a while, the voice asked coldly. Long Qingxia held the épée in his hand, and raised his mouth slightly with a smile. When do you think you've ever fought for your husband? Even if it's not right, I'll run, so be prepared for it yourself. Can Cloud Dance not understand what he means? Staring at him, at last, Yunwu said nothing more. I'll make the way for you. As soon as the words of Cloud Dance came down, the whole body had been fused with the power of the elements in the body, and on the ancient sword in the hand, a black flame was burning. Then, a yellow light flashed, instantly condensed into a shield shape and appeared in front of him. This is the Earth Element Defense Shield. It can defend without hindering the attack. Before, when training to use the 7 elements, she gradually grasped the integration of the 7 elements and used them at the same time, but this situation lasted for a short time. But opened the way for him, enough. Cloud Dance did not delay. At that moment, the body has wind element wrapped body, fast flash straight forward. Hongling and Xiaoqiu follow the Cloud Dance naturally. Seeing this, Nangongyi didn't say anything. The figure in white turned into a shadow and went with her. You okay? I'll do it, too. Shengguan watched the Cloud Dance follow Shengguan. At last, he seemed helpless, and his body was full of beast-like breath, which was also the most rapid way to stop the scorpion. The 10-5 level warcraft in front of them, however, moved very fast, set up a sharp attack, and attacked by the fierce Chaoyun Dance and others. Long Qingxie looked at this scene, his fist could not help but clench, and his brow wrinkled. However, he did not make any movement, but just stood in the same place, staring at the woman who rushed in front of him. The bottom of my heart is slightly tightening, and it seems to be beating frequently. Why can this silly woman always touch the softest place in his heart? Why, always when he wants to do something, let him always hesitate to start. As a matter of fact, as soon as he entered the bamboo forest, he knew that he had entered this array. Originally, he had a way to get them to leave early in the morning. However, he wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to get it. But now Cloud Dance eyes purple flashing, holding the hand of the sword, dark flame with cold light flashed, the sword vertical and horizontal to meet up. With the 5th level warcraft, it roars. Nangongyi is on her left side. She is not slow at all. She sweeps away and escorts her with all her strength. As soon as Shengguan catches up with Yunwu, he has a tacit understanding to bow and pounce on the right side of Yunwu, with a ferocity of beast state. As for Hongling and Xiaoqiu, they usually see you pinching me and I pinching you. When they arrive at this time, they cooperate with each other, but they are not weak at all. Little thing, what do you want Weifu to do with you? Has been looking at the dragon Qing evil, that eyes in the end or flash a helpless and deep undercurrent. He muttered to himself and sighed. The next second, the body shape is still a shake, the ape whistling, straight forward. I'm a man. The Cloud dances to smell speech, the brow slightly wrinkles, but, the corner of the mouth can't help but slightly rises. She knows what this man means. Dragon Qing evil see this, also raised the corner of the mouth. However, at this time, the two did not say anything more. The attack in their hands was extremely sharp and fierce, and the fierce attack swept away with the power of thunder. The blade of the sword is fighting, and the beast roars. Yunwu, Longqingxi, Nangongyi, Shengguan gradually formed 4 directions, the fierce offensive. After a while, I really let them break through quickly. However, after the 10 5th order warcraft, there are 3 6th order warcraft. And the 3 warcraft, I do not know why, has not come up, but staring at the 10 warcraft fight with Yunwu and others. Until just when the 4 tacit understanding and cooperation quickly broke through a gap. The 3 6th order warcraft, even at this time, issued a squeak. Originally dark around, suddenly appeared a pair of cool green eyes, the number of, almost the whole night is about to light up the rhythm. That's Yunwu's face changed again when they looked around. Damn it! How can there be so many of these ghosts? I saw, around the grass, already do not know when, already gathered dense warcraft. It turns out that the 3 6th order warcraft just didn't move, just want to let the 10 5th order warcraft consume their physical strength. As the saying goes, smart people talk, stupid people do. These 6th level warcraft have bred wisdom. Since there are so many lower level warcraft, why do they need to do it by themselves? At this time, Just like an emperor, he looked at these human beings in front of him in a gloomy way, just like the food in his mouth. Long Qingxie, go out from this mouth, you go first. At this time, the cloud dance broadsword splits horizontally, and cuts a gap from the other direction. The black flame, also in the dark, was burning all around. However, although the black flame is terrible, it will slow down when encountering high-level warcraft. In such a dense group of warcraft, it is not really a real force of terror. However, at this time, it is enough to tear a hole. Dragon's evil action, but somehow some hesitation, black eyes seem to flash a strange streamer. This, cloud danced just in the eye. Shangguan retreated to stand back to back with them and said, yes, Dragon 4, you go to break the battle first, we'll take the lead here. Without breaking the battle, their physical strength will be consumed by these warcraft sooner or later. At that time, the consequences are unimaginable. Look at the green eyes around, you will know how many warcraft are around. Once they are defeated or exhausted, they must be torn apart by those warcraft. He finally got free from the ghost place of the Beast Gate, but he didn't go outside to enjoy real freedom. He didn't want to die in this ghost place. However, at this time, Nangong Yi, through the eyes of the white gauze, looks at the sky in the dark. Someone's coming. People. Just as Nangongji's words had just fallen, some fluctuations came from the air. See that around warcraft, unexpectedly, rustle, move, began to withdraw from a large section of open space. Including the 3 6th order warcraft. As soon as Yunwu felt the wave, he immediately looked up and looked in the direction of the wave. In the dark, a thin figure came slowly from the air step by step. Step in the void. What is the strength to do so? And that figure did not fall to the ground, and after walking, it stopped on the green bamboo not far away. Dark gray robe, no wind automatically brushed. However, unexpectedly, the man in the thin shadow is not an old man, but a handsome young man who seems to be only 17 or 18 years old. It's just that he looks a little pale and sick. Are you the ones who broke into my array and stole my medicinal materials? The voice of a young man came from the air. At the sight of the boy, Long Qingxie's eyes were obviously darkened. However, they soon covered up. Nangong Yi's head is wearing white gauze. It's hard to see what his expression is. However, as soon as Shengguan saw the boy, he frowned, and his eyes flashed with the color of doubt. Only Cloud Dance, looking at the young man, is completely unable to feel the emptiness. Yes. It's the feeling of emptiness. In the young man, it was as if he was empty, as if he had no breath. Weird and dangerous. We just broke in by accident. We don't know that you set up the array here. Shengguan replied in a loud voice. Orally, obviously, I didn't intend to admit that I stole something from your cave. However, the young man's eyes passed by, but it was cold. You don't have to admit that only if you move my medicinal materials will my pets be hunted down. His pet. Hearing his words, Yunwu was surprised. This dense thousands of warcraft, he actually said the pet. Who the hell is he? When Shengguan heard the speech, he lost his voice. Sir, as the saying goes, those who don't know are innocent. We didn't mean to break into the cave and roar. We actually picked some flame fruits in the cave. Now that we know your name, we will give it back with both hands. But can we take away your pets first? Nangong Yi said politely in a gentle voice. At this time, it's really their fault. What's more, at this time, with the situation they are facing, it would be the best if it could be solved peacefully. However, the young man's vision, after sweeping around the 4 people, fell on the Hongling and Xiaoqiu beside Yunwu. Qiyan Cannibal Flower. Alien Phoenix. There seemed to be a flash of light in the boy's eyes. Cloud Dance eyebrow instantly a wrinkly, he can see a red ling with small stink body. In the sight of the young man, Hongling and Xiaoqiu were shivering. With a whoosh, he leaned to Yunwu's leg. What are you looking at? Believe it or not, I ate you. Hung Ling was disgusted with the boy's sight. She drank angrily but inexplicably. Little Stink didn't feel afraid, or he hated the sight. He also learned to shout, "Look again, bite you to death." Green bamboo on the body of Thin Young, here, that cold pretty face, suddenly funny like a smile. Well, I like it. As long as you give me those two little things and give me my herbs, I won't care about it. Give him Hung Ling and Xiaoqiu. Is it possible? Cloud Dance eyes cold light sink, looked up at the young man. If you want to get back the herbs, I can return you, but I can't agree to your request, because they are mine. Yours? Young smell speech, that pair of sharp eyes slightly narrowed, straight at Cloud Dance. However, the next second, the boy's pupils shrank, and his face was rather ferocious. Well, since they have a master, I'll let them become ownerless first. What do you mean? Saw. In the dark, suddenly a wind-like voice came. It's so fast that it hardly gives anyone a chance to react. Since the boy appeared, Long Qingxie, who had been silent, shrank his pupils and changed his face. Be careful. Yunwu hasn't responded yet. He just feels that his body is dragged by the man, and he and she change positions. Bang! A sound of flesh and blood being suddenly hit. Eh! The wind she sees the dragon to incline evil body to tremble, a dull hum, the corner of the mouth spreads blood-red ooze. At this time, this scene, let everyone see clearly. That sticky tusk disgusting thing, I do not know when out of the air void, at this time is attacking the dragon behind the evil, the whole back into the meat 3 points, bloody. And his position, just for Cloud Dance. Nangong Yi, Shengguan is a little stunned when he sees it Cloud Dance after seeing clearly, the heart is mercilessly one draw, the facial expression is startled to change to shout away, Long Qing evil. At this time, however, the dragon's evil spirit fell on his back. When the sword fell, it cut off the purple disgusting thing that was inserted into his back. ZZ. Things with purple tongue make a sharp pain like ZZ sound. Long Qingxie stepped back with Yunwu and said in a low voice, remember what I said. Don't show your identity as a witch in front of this man. You must remember. After that, he let go of Cloud Dance and turned to face the boy on the green bamboo. Tonight, your opponent is me. As soon as the dragon's evil words fell, a strong breath suddenly released from his body. The épée in his hand seemed to be more cold in the breath. However, when he turned around, he saw the clouds on his back, his face turned white, and his heart trembled. I saw that it was the purple rattan tongue that was cut off. Although it fell from his back, his whole back was bloody and almost white bones could be seen. But now, he is still with nothing, will protect her behind. Doesn't it hurt? At this time of Cloud Dance, I really want to ask this question. Because, to see him standing in front of her back, looking at the blood, with the blood. Her heart is in pain, the first real scratch pain let her incomparable anger. Why? Is he a fool for her? Or crazy? Yunwu felt his anger rising, and he grasped Guwu's hand tightly. And at this time, Warcraft suddenly came around. Nangong Yi follows Shengguan and starts to protect himself with his sword for a moment. Yunwu was protected in the protection circle of the triangle of 3. The boy on Sueju seems to be very interested in the scene below, and his mouth is a little gloomy. Suddenly, the white hand made a gesture. The ground, the vibration is more and more obvious. At this time, the dense warcraft on the back of the chase, such as the long dragon across the river came. Without saying anything, batch after batch came straight at them. The Cloud Dance star's eyes narrowed, and an indescribable anger suddenly rose in his heart. The light in his eyes was extremely cold. The power of elements in the body is almost subconsciously mobilized also at this time. Cloud Dance's mind surged up a crazy idea. Holding a knife in one hand and turning it over in the other hand, an extremely irascible thunder element suddenly leaps up, turns around, and quickly merges with the dark fire Guwu broadsword along the arm. If the two elements are fused together, they will repel each other. But once they are fused, the fused elements are more than twice as strong as the ontology elements. Although the dark fire in the ancient martial arts sword is terrible, it can be swallowed too slowly. If the thunder element is integrated, then however, the fire of darkness is not the element body in her body. It is completely unknown what the consequences will be if her thunder elements are forced to fuse. However, at this time, she had no time, and would never allow herself to fail. Because, Long Qingxie, Nanganji, Shengguan, Hongling and Xiaoqiu attack from 4 directions and protect her as the center. Zizizi. A strong thunder and lightning zizi sound sounded. When the violent thunder element was injected into Guwu de Gao, a rush of impatience and repulsion suddenly rose up and directly attacked Yunwu's body. The two brutal repels, not giving in to each other, have brought up a force of counterattack. Well, poof. In the constant influx of irritable rejection, with the power of anti-phage, Yunwu body trembled, a mouthful of blood gushed out. But at the moment when the blood spurted out, the purple light in the cloud dancing pupil flashed by. At the foot of a move, the hands of that irascible and with zizizizi current of the ancient martial arts sword, swift and violent straight in front of a fierce split and down. Boom! A loud explosion, with a spark-like current, flashed in the dark. The irascible and unstable breath directly threw the 6th-level scorpion in front of him away, and the dense warcraft around him also split a gap. He gave a sharp drink. Yunwu withstood the repulsion, clenched his sword, and went forward like a storm, frantically splitting and attacking the ground that was cut down by the lightning black fire is scorched and ashes. It can be seen that the thunder element is fusing with the fire of darkness, which not only increases the devouring speed of the fire of darkness, but also strengthens the attack power. However, in addition to enduring the power of irritability, we also need to continuously send the thunder elements into the sword. This makes Cloud Dance extremely physical and laborious. Therefore, this kind of attack will not last long at this time. It can only be solved quickly. Zizi. Bang. The black light and shadow of the electric current flicker, sweeping towards those dense warcraft, as if blooming with a fierce breath, so ferocious. At this time, the 3 of them, Hongling and Xiaoqiu, have a tacit understanding. They withdraw quickly and fiercely in the last 3 directions, and the fierce attack doesn't stop will protect her back dripping, let her have no worries of fast forward charge. Under the overwhelming attack of cloud dancing, the forest almost turned into scorched earth, the dark flames spread around, and the vegetation withered. Let some warcraft gradually raised fear. Can see is about to break through, a gaga laughter, but volley. At a young age, with such strong power and thunder elements, it's no wonder that it's good to snatch the Ting Dragon sword. At the beginning, when the boy on Sueju saw Cloud Dance integrating thunder elements into Guwu de Gao, his sharp eyes flashed a bit of surprise and interest. How long has it been since I met such an interesting thing? However, if this funny thing is not of its own, it might as well be destroyed. Well, I'll die anyway. I'll die sooner or later. It's better to leave my life today, so that I won't go to collect it later. The boy was very interested. He could see that his warcraft had been killed so many times. The fire of darkness combined with thunder element attack power, so strong. If she is allowed to grow up, I'm afraid it's not so easy to master. The boy's words fell, but the dragon's evil face suddenly sank. Did he find the identity of Yunwu? Damn it. Long Qingxie's intention of killing passed by, but the time is not yet now. Under the ground, there was a sudden rustling sound. After a while, a lot of warcraft like scorpion came from the ground. In an instant, it seemed that they would be surrounded again. Long Qingxie's face changed a little. This is endless. Are these warcraft really too many to kill? But the Cloud Dance's expression is getting colder and colder, as if unconsciously, her black eyes had turned into purple and dyed a bloodthirsty madness. Wood elements in the body, suddenly mobilized. Turn a hand, quickly revolve of pour into that Guwu big knife inside. This is irritable and repulsive, which is infused with another element to fuse, isn't it fueling the fire? Cloud Dance is tightly holding the hands of the Zizizuo ring of the current knife, forced into. However, under the impact of the violent air flow, the body was shocked and the throat was full of fishy sweetness, little thing. Long Qingxie's face suddenly changed. However, Yunwu clenched his teeth, without any hesitation, raised the fierce breath sword with both hands, and slashed forward with all his strength. Under the knife, the darkness and fire are burning, and the strong breath spreads. Boom! There was an earthquake on the ground, a huge explosion sounded, and a burst of black smoke filled with dust. Run! At the moment when Yunwu was cheering, the red contract ring in his hand flashed, and he directly brought Xiaoqiu and Hongling into the space ring. At that moment, Long Qingxie also turned to hold her waist and left as fast as he could. Shangguan and Nangong Yi are not slow at all. At the moment of turning around, they leave quickly in the direction of Yunwu Dao falling down. Did the maze break? So it's broken. On the green bamboo, he was looking at the young man like a play. At this time, Zhengleng looked at the crack like scorched earth. His eyes were stunned and couldn't believe it. How is that possible? Can a boy who is only in the middle of the 8th level break the array he set himself? No way. This is absolutely impossible. The young man didn't believe it, but the scene in front of him forced him to believe it. Originally, the dense forest had been destroyed and scattered in 708. 3 6th level warcraft fell under the knife just now, which directly damaged 2 and a large number of warcraft. I'm afraid this young man has never imagined such a heavy loss. Damn it, his eyes were full of anger, and his face was full of killing. In a flash, the young man's figure has turned into a remnant shadow, chasing the direction of Yunwu and others. Yunwu feels that he has exhausted all his physical strength. After taking Hongling and Xiaoqiu back into space, the whole person is held in one arms by Dragon Qingxie. She really had no strength, so Renru ran with her. However, in addition to exhaustion of physical strength, the whole body is extremely painful. Especially the hand holding the broadsword was almost abandoned at this time. It was so painful that it was numb. But Yunwu's other hand was still struggling to take out the necklace that he had been wearing around his neck. Luck, a sweet throat, directly a mouthful of hard work sprayed on the necklace. Little thing. What are you doing? Long Qingxie is worried. Cloud Dance shook his head, some chi deficiency. I'm okay, go to the direction of the Beast Gate, find Lofty. The boy will definitely come after him. Although for the strength of the youth, Cloud Dance is not clear. However, it's not easy to let Long Qingxie have scruples and tell her not to reveal her witch identity. Shangguan, take a shortcut and go back to the Beast Gate. In the rush, Dragon Qingxie opens his mouth to the Shangguan who comes after him. Shangguan heard that, although he didn't understand it, he still gritted his teeth and headed straight ahead to lead the way. Others may be in the dark, even the road cannot recognize. However, Shangguan was originally a member of the Beast Gate. Going back to the Beast Gate was like going back to his own home. Once he found the right direction, the speed of east and west was faster than just now. The young man who came after him didn't catch up with him for a while. Four people shuttled through the forest without stopping all the way. Originally, it was a day's journey away from the Beast Gate. But in the escape, the potential to play full, this hard for an hour did not stop, shortcut to catch up with the back. However, today's Beast Gate has become a ruin. This is the Gate of Beasts. Should it be safe? Shangguan looked at the ruins in the dark, and didn't feel the smell of pursuing soldiers. As soon as he stopped, he collapsed on the ground and gasped. I'm so tired. And Nangonji, dressed in elegant white, is also breathless. However, Nangong Yi was much better than Shangguan, who was lying on the ground in a big shape with a big mouth open. Long Qingxie's breath was also a little unsteady, but he first put Yunwu down and reached for her to see her. By the way, I'm going to input some of my own energy to her to supplement her physical strength. But as soon as he touched her hand vein, he felt a strange force from her blood, repelling him. Now on his palm, there was still the numbness that had just been shaken by her. How could that be? She is now exhausted in her body. His strength should not be rejected. How can the Long Qing evil eyebrows lock tightly, the deep black eyes flash a quick worry? Reach out to try, can still be the same, Yuanli just touched her, was flicked away. Is her Numenon rejecting his Yuanli? At this time, the cloud dance has automatically entered the breathing state. She didn't know about the outside world. She just felt that the power of elements in her body was chaotic and mixed, and the impact of irritability and rejection was emerging. If we don't balance it quickly, the consequences will be unbearable. Moreover, she seemed to feel that the necklace on her neck had some fever. Is she all right? Shangguan looked at Yunwu and asked. Long Qingxie's face was a little heavy, and it was self-evident that his eyes were worried. When I didn't respond and secretly wanted to mobilize the source. Nangong Yi on one side said in a gentle voice, she should be okay. She seems to be rushing to the bottleneck. Long Qingxie followed the official and turned his head to look at him. Nangong Yibai's line of sight under the gauze quietly looks at Yunwu, she seems to be in promotion. Promotion? On hearing this, Shangguan couldn't help but be curious. He jumped up from the ground and walked to Yunwu. He was very curious and stared at her. It was promoted yesterday, and it is promoted today. This really makes Shangguan can't help but wonder, what's the constitution of Xiaowu? But under his over-curious eyes, a cold light swept past. Shangguan can't help but shiver. Under Long Qingxie's eyes, he quickly put away his excessive, hot, sight. I didn't mean it. I was just curious. With that, Shangguan found a place nearby to sit down. In order to avoid the cold eyes of Long Qingxie, she secretly looks at Yunwu from time to time, as if to see how she was promoted. It's like enjoying the animals in the zoo. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, black eyes slightly squint, cold light twinkle, however, at this time but also no action. But the bottom of my heart, inexplicably some heavy up. In addition to the boy who came after her, there was also her own body that had begun to repel him. Will that prophecy come true? At the same time, on the other side of the bamboo forest at the edge of the forest, a few black-robed figures quickly moved away from the darkness. Soon, those black-robed people with masks stood in the position where Yunwu and others fought against Warcraft. I saw that there were still some Warcraft corpses in that place, along with the destroyed forest. Those Warcraft-like ants, black-robed people in the void, didn't even glance at them. However, when I saw the huge crack between the destroyed forests, which was like a cut mountain, several black-robed people's pupils suddenly shrunk and their faces slightly changed. It was a crack nearly 1 meter deep. It was blackened all around. All the Warcraft trees in that area had already turned into dust. And in the air, there is still the thunder element breath of the current. Most importantly, in the dark, the fire of darkness is still faintly jumping and swallowing the surrounding objects, the dark fire of witches. The black-robed man, who was the leader, had a deep and unpredictable look. Dharma Protector, there are fluctuations of thunder elements in the air. It is estimated that only the summoner can have this ability. But now there has been no summoner in mainland China for hundreds of years. How can we report this when we go back? One of them was a man in black, and the voice was so creepy. The leader of the black-robed people smell speech, but all of a sudden squint black creepy eyes, the whole body has a haze of creepy breath. How to report? This is his territory. If something is lost, why should we report it? He will plead with the Lord himself. However, it turns out that the summoner has reappeared in mainland China, so we have to cut down the grassroots, inform them to go on and search. Yes, Dharma Protector. Is it necessary to report to the Lord in advance that there is a summoner in mainland China? The eyes of the black-robed man who was returned to the Dharma guard were creepy, as if there was a touch of meditation. After a while, he just brushed his hand. I'll report to the Lord in person, and you'll gather people immediately. In any case, you'll find that person for me. Yes, a few black figures, suddenly toward Tang, twinkling of an eye, disappeared under the night. On the other side of the dragon, it seems that they don't know. Because of this, they caused these fluctuations. When Yunwu was relieved from breathing, the original disorderly impatience in the body gradually began to calm down. And she felt that the necklace around her neck seemed to be silent. Is her hard work useless? Ding! At this time, in my mind, a bell rang. When the cloud dance didn't respond, the consciousness swished and was sucked by a suction. When Yunwu reacts, he is already in the Hall of Chaos. Congratulations, Master. The second door of Chaos Hall has been opened for you, Dead Door. In the open space, an old and distant voice sounded. Death Gate? Cloud dance aleng, but in the sound of a moment. A stabbing pain sprang up in her mind, and a piece of information quickly poured into her mind, the method of death. At the beginning of chaos, death is still alive, and the cycle is endless, leaving the place of death for nirvana and rebirth. Then, I saw a dark color rising from the space. It's not reflected by Yunwu. The whole space is distorted and changing. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.